10 to 11. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 96 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus and Breakfast. Here are your hosts, Brett Stack, Sportsworthy, and Ryan Davis.
Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. Landon Schmidt producing. We're with you for the next 3 hours. A lot to get to from the weekend. We know NBA free agency officially starts in just a couple hours at 5 o'clock. So a very busy show today. A lot to get to. But before we get to anything, Brett, how are you this afternoon?
Brian, I'm doing very well as we close out June on this final day of June, starts the second half of the year tomorrow. We got a lot of business to take care of today, don't we?
Yeah, no, we do. We gotta kind of look back at the first half of the year, which is always a little challenging, but yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun later this afternoon.
Should we get out the grade book and grade the first half of the year?
I don't know about that. That might be a lot of brain power that I have already used up on trying to put these top fives together.
You've already maxed out. The disc is full?
I think so, yeah. Are
you using floppy disk?
Yes.
Do you know what a floppy disk is?
Barely, yes. Yes.
Only through tales from
right,
old people?
Yes. I just made that cut. I don't know, but just a little bit.
Oh, you came along at the best time ever.
Yeah.
You really did.
Feels like it. But no, these will be fun later this afternoon. Top 5 national sports stories for the first half of the year, and also national sports person of the year, and then top 5 local sports stories for the first half of the year. Same thing, local sports.
We want yours. Give them to us.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It was difficult, I think, always. Local a little bit easier than national, just because we're so here and you know, kind of remember easier.
Local's always first.
Yes, and then national, you almost kind of go a little bit deeper in the brain to try to remember. All right, well, what happened in January and February and March?
It gets a little just top line national.
Yes, it does. You kind of remember the big things. Local, you kind of remember a lot more of everything. So local a lot more easy than national, I feel. But both are going to be a lot of fun when we get to them this afternoon.
It will be. It will be. Again, I know everything's going to get started at 5 on free agency, right?
Yep.
I would have thought there would be more stuff so far. There's been a lot of deals and a lot of extensions and new contracts and some opt-ins, opt-outs and things like that, but I thought it would be more. What'd you make of the LeBron James business dealings with the Lakers?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just kind of pointing towards, you know, maybe we're starting to see the end of his career, and, you know, I think it also puts a little more pressure on the Lakers of, hey, you know, I mean, obviously his agent came out and said, you know, he wants to win now. He wants to, you know, compete for another ring before
wants to collect another ring.
That's right. And
I thought ring collecting was so passe.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, you know, but, yeah, I think, you know, he knows that only a couple more years left in the tank. You saw some other rumors over the weekend.
There's always a tweet, always a quote with LeBron. Always.
Well, yeah. I mean,
there's always
absolutely.
He's said something that's back in his face years later.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's a little bit of the, you know, want to win now, and then I think it's also I think he knows that only a couple more years left max for his NBA career, and we're starting to kind of see the end of that.
And he knows with Lakers is Nowheresville.
Yeah. Well,
Cue the Beatles, Nowhere Man.
Well, we definitely know they have some holes that they need to go out there and fill. And
you know, everybody, even Oklahoma City, it's not gaping, it's not as wide as some, but you may have a hole. It's hard to contend and fix plural holes.
Yeah. No, it absolutely is. It makes it a little easier when you have two unbelievable players like LeBron James and Luka, but there are definitely issues there. We know center is the big one. We know that's what they're going to be targeting at the forefront whenever free agency starts, and you know, we'll see if they can.
There's even that quote, that tweet from days of yore. LeBron, way back then, you know, at the end, I can see me being a back to the basket post player.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and
He doesn't want to do that now.
well,
I
of
don't
course
blame
not.
him.
No, I mean, at 40 years old, I certainly don't want to be down low and banging with some bigs. So I don't blame him at all. But we'll see. I think the Lakers and what they do this offseason, starting later this evening, I think is going to be really big to see what they can add to this roster, what they can do to kind of create a roster for both LeBron James and Luka to maybe try to go out there and compete for another championship.
Was it any slight at Luka?
No, I don't think so. I think Luka
In New York, it would have been.
probably.
New York media would have made it.
Oh yeah, of course. But I think
Lakers media plays ball.
they do, and I think everybody sees it. LeBron James, he's on his way out, and Luka's going to be the next face and the next.
And
decision
LeBron
maker
media plays ball.
there. Oh yeah, no, they definitely do. So it's gonna be fun to keep an eye on that LeBron story and see, because I think you've seen everything from he's gonna retire to he's ready to ask for a trade out of LA and go somewhere else to end his career. I mean, it's the reactions to that have been kind of all over the place.
Brian, we only do this at the first of the year. We're not doing this at the halfway point of the year or for the second half of the year. Mm-hmm. So this would really encompass next year on what's our first show of the year? Probably Monday, January 5th.
Sure.
One of my predictions will be, I don't care where the Lakers are in the standings at that time. Mm-hmm. One of my predictions will be hot and heavy LeBron talk at NBA deadline time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, and I think there's a lot of people out there after he decided to opt into his deal.
Let him be in that no man's land of 6, 7, play in, play out.
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, with LeBron James, I don't think anything would surprise you.
Our good buddies at sportsbetting.ag, they have set odds for LeBron's next team should he be traded by the start of the 25-26 regular season. So it's not just Brett and Bryant talking about it.
No.
It's our good friends at sportsbetting.ag talking about it.
By the start of the season?
By the start of the 25-26 regular season. Crazy, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Dallas Mavericks 5-2.
Yeah, that's kind of where everyone's saying.
Cleveland 4-1. Golden State 5-1. The New York Knickerbockers 6-1. San Antonio 8-1. Clippers 10-1. Denver 14-1. So everybody except for Cleveland and the Knicks in the West, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Minnesota 14-1. Detroit 16-1. There's East. Here we go, East. Indiana 18-1. Toronto 20-1. Miami 25-1. Not 1, not 2, not 3. That was from the collector himself.
Yeah.
That's not Brett making that up, is it?
No,
I'm pretty sure I saw a special, a free agent LeBron signs with Miami. Jim Gray hosted
The Decision.
I watched it.
Oh man, I love.
Did you watch?
Oh, Brett, let me tell you this. I was at a
Take me back to it.
I'll never forget it. I was at a restaurant. I was young. I was at a restaurant in Destin, Florida. It was a pizza restaurant, and for whatever reason, this restaurant had booths, and at every booth there was a little personal television.
Oh yeah.
Just for you, and you could put it on whatever channel you wanted to, and that's where I watched The Decision, sitting in that pizza shop.
I love those little booths like that.
Oh, it's great. It's the only place I've ever been in that has had that. It's awesome.
There's a place on the main drag at Vandy in Nashville.
Really?
Right by the Parthenon, right by Vandy's football stadium, a pizza place that has the little TVs in every booth.
That's awesome. I loved it. It was great, and sure did. Sat there and watched The Decision.
And he said not 1, not 2, not. So where was I? Milwaukee Bucks 25-1, Atlanta Hawks 28-1, your Memphis Grizzlies 28-1.
Right. I don't think.
What would you bet on that?
I'm not going to put any money on him coming to Memphis.
You might as well set that at 28 million to 1.
Yeah, you're just donating money at that point.
Yeah. Well, sometimes in gaming, that's what we do.
Well, that is true. But that would certainly be. That would be definitely donations to the man. But
there'll be a lot of conversation about him. I'll stay with my prediction on first show of the year for 26 predictions. But here's what's going to happen. He will start the season with the Lakers, and he will finish the season with the Lakers.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I don't see him going anywhere, especially not before the start of the season. I mean, that would be insane. I think they're going to give it a go, and I'm never going to bet against a team that has those two guys on it. So we'll see. We'll see where they're at the end of the season. And
well, you'd have made a lot of money betting against them, though.
You would,
except for the bubble.
Sure. Well, but no, I mean Luka and LeBron. I mean this current team with those two guys. I don't want to bet against those two guys, but obviously, they've got to go. And I think the biggest one right now is you got to get a center because they made the move. They moved AD out of there. They thought they were going to get Mark Williams, and the rest of the season we kind of knew how it was going to play out because they did not have a playable center on that roster. And so maybe if they go out and get a guy, I don't know who the right guy is, but if they can go out and get a guy, then maybe that will certainly would help them a lot more than what they had last year.
So you had you knew of floppy disk. Mm-hmm. Did you know of baseball Hall of Famer, soon to be Hall of Famer, Dave Parker, who passed away over the weekend?
I was not. Cobra. I don't have much on the Cobra, Dave Parker now.
And with his name, Dave Parker, Cobra. When our friend Keith Parker worked at Sports 56 and a great guy, our friend Will Askew, a baseball lover, both those guys, big baseball fans, he dubbed Keith Parker Cobra, and it stuck around the building and around town. And
awesome.
and both Will and Keith, great guys, but they just on Major League Baseball Network, they just showed, and it really highlights how much the game has changed. But I wish you would catch some of it or Google some of his highlights. The 79 World Series, first of all, it just absolutely screams the 70s.
Yeah.
Game 7 closeout were the Orioles in orange tops, orange bottoms.
Oh, jeez.
And very controversial.
Yeah.
The Pirates had on black, banana yellow tops, black bottoms.
Oh, man.
And Game 7 was at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, and you not just see, a little bit of where the football field would be. Bryant, you could have taken the pitcher's mound off the field, and it looked striped.
That's awesome.
the how it went from home kind of to center field is kind of how the football field laid out. And, I mean, it was all buddy.
Cow.
He's to the 30. He's to the 40. I mean,
that's awesome.
And he went into second base, and the shortstop for the Orioles was the back of the baseball card would always describe these guys as slick fielding, light hitting.
Yeah, I love that.
And also meant they were little. Mark Belanger and Cobra Parker goes into him and just destroys him. I mean, waited till the last second to initiate spikes really high right into him. I mean, you'd get arrested now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's hilarious. Wow.
And a lot of highlights of his shows his famous throw from the 1979 All-Star Game in Seattle. Kingdome was fairly new, and he threw out Brian Downing for the Angels at home plate. But what everybody is missing in enjoying it so much is you could not, even with that throw, you could not have that play now because Gary Carter goes right out in front of the plate and obstructs the running path as you could then to make the sweeping tag. You couldn't do that now. It'd be called safe.
Yeah, no, I
Buster Posey rule.
Yeah, no, you're right. I like I said, I was not familiar with the Cobra, but I have seen some of the videos since his passing, and it's watching those old school baseball highlights and baseball videos. That's fun.
What do you mean old school?
A little old school. It's fun to watch. It's cool stuff.
46 summers ago, 1979 All-Star game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Unbelievable.
That's insane. It really is.
And it leaves, there are 5 inductees this year. Ichiro Suzuki, CeCe Sabathia, Billy Wagner, Dick Allen, and Dave Parker. And Dick Allen and Dave Parker. Dick Allen passed away in 2020. Both will be inducted posthumously. I wish we would get it better with we lose our minds every January when that story breaks. I think now veterans and older players and kind of look at their resume again. I think that vote's actually in the fall, December.
That's right. Yeah.
But I wish we could get it in. He got to enjoy knowing he was going to be going in, and his family would be there and be well represented. But and Dick Allen's nickname was Wampum, from his hometown, Waupun, PA.
That's awesome.
Guarantee you, Greg Gaston grew up loving.
Oh, I believe it.
And when he grew up loving him, he was Richie Allen, and then later in his career, he wanted to be Dick Allen.
Interesting.
And one very inglorious year with the Cardinals.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
at the end for him.
It's too bad. That's how it usually goes, I guess.
Yeah.
Get to the end of your career.
Dave Parker's end was good though, and I saw Tony La Russa. He was on a lot of retrospective conversation about him this weekend, and he went out and added him to the A's, that 88, 89 A's that had McGuire and Canseco and all those great players on it, Terry Steinbach and others, and great pitching staff, Dave Stewart, Bob Welch, and Don Tony said I wanted that veteran, big guy, big voice, clubhouse guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No question about it. I guess got the right guy.
And I heard somebody say he was such a great high school running back in the Cincinnati area. In Cincinnati, very famous high school football. Can you imagine being the defensive back that would come up to tackle him?
Yeah, no thank you.
No thanks.
No thank you. I'll pass
Big
on
pass.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I will definitely pass.
That's when
on
the
that.
hamstring pulls.
Exactly right. Yeah. You make a business decision on that one for sure. Well, we've got a busy show today, so let me set it up before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30. We'll talk about NBA free agency, some of the things we've seen going into free agency that will officially open later tonight at 5:00. Deals already being made with teams and guys on their rosters. We'll also talk a couple trades from over the weekend. We'll do that in our next segment at 3:30. 3:45, we'll talk Major League Baseball, what happened over the weekend. The Cardinals, they swept the Guardians. Really good offensive performance from the Cardinals over the last 3 games. We also got to talk about Landon's Mets. What's going on with them as they have
lost 13 out of 16.
Yeah, it's really bad, really struggling
Outscored
right
30
now.
to 4.
We don't have to talk about them.
Yeah, well, I think we do. We do have to talk about them, unfortunately.
No, we're good.
Because they have really been struggling, but a lot of injuries there, especially with the pitching staff. So we'll talk Major League Baseball at 3:45. 4 o'clock, David Cobb from CBS Sports. He'll join us. We'll talk college football and college basketball. 4:30, we'll get to our top 5 national sports stories for the first half of the year. Also, our sports person nationally for the first half of the year. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, DeMichael Cole, the Grizzlies beat writer for the Commercial Appeal, will join us. Not sure how long we'll have DeMichael Cole. Obviously, that is going to be a very busy hour for him.
He's got a very real job.
Yes,
doesn't
he
mean
does.
He needs to talk to us.
No, but we really appreciate him.
We do.
For
We sure do.
for giving it a go with us this afternoon. Absolutely, if news breaks, we completely understand. We'll let him go and talk more NBA free agency. We'll talk with DeMichael at 5 o'clock. 5:30, we'll get to our top 5 local sports stories for the first half of the year and our local sports person for the first half of the year. Then at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Mo's Crunch Time. Well, let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. It's pool time, and Family Leisure is already booking pool installs for 2025. Buy now and get on the list for your pool installation. 2024 pools starting at $19.99 installed, with liners starting at $299. And right now, all pool accessories are up to 20% off. 5 to 6 person hot tubs starting at $69.99, with swim spas and cold plunge tubs now $2,000 off. Patio furniture up to 50% off on select sets, and if you mention this ad, get free installation only at Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40.
Landon producing, Bryant Brett talking. We're Sports Time. We're with you until 6 o'clock. We're with you from 3 until 6 o'clock. And we want you to be a part of our show at 901-360-8255. That's the Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line. All our guests will appear on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255. I promise you we're with you until 6. That's not a threat. That's really a promise.
It really
and
is.
I guarantee you we are in our Family Leisure Studios, proudly from our Family Leisure Studio. And this hour brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis. They are at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2025 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. You can call Lexus of Memphis at 901-334-9673, but they invite you to stop by the only Lexus dealership in Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2025 flagship LS500, and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day is the Memphis Grizzlies and what will happen later tonight as free agency starts. We know there are decisions that need to be made. What's this roster going to look like? We know that there's more to be done for this to be a complete competitive roster, and it sounds like the Grizzlies are interested in Ty Jerome, who spent last season with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and it doesn't sound like we'll be back with Cleveland. That decision has already been made, and the Grizzlies are the team that rival teams have pinpointed as the team that Ty Jerome could go for. It sounds like they could get him on a pretty good deal. Last season, in more of a backup role, Ty Jerome had a really good season, averaged 12.5 points per game, 3.4 assists per game, shot about 44% from three after shooting 38.9% from three in the 2022-23 season. So a guy that can add three-point shooting, but does a lot of other things. Really good floater game, was the best in terms of floater percentage by players outside of centers last season in the NBA. So a guy that I think could add a lot. If you can get him on a good deal, I think that would be massive for the Grizzlies. It sounds like Luke Kennard is moving on, and the Grizzlies are moving on from him. It sounds like he'll have a meeting with the Houston Rockets, but the next big question is Santi Aldama. What happens with him? It sounds like Brooklyn could be very interested in trying to make an offer for him as he's a restricted free agent. We've also heard other teams, though, like the Detroit Pistons, talk about sign and trade options for Santi Aldama. So he's obviously a big piece for the Grizzlies and what they do with him. And earlier today, Jeff Goodman actually reporting some news about what the Grizzlies coaching staff could add this offseason. He reported earlier today that Tennessee State's head basketball coach Brian Penny Collins has stepped down effective immediately to accept a coaching position in the NBA. It is expected that he will join the Memphis Grizzlies. Brian Collins was teammates with Tomas Isolo overseas, and it sounds like now will join the Memphis Grizzlies coaching staff. So it feels like, obviously, tonight, some things that could come up for the Grizzlies, but the Grizzlies starting to move in the direction to not only fill out their roster, but also their coaching staff for next season.
And we hope it all works out, and the team is better next year than it was this year, and it was a good team for a long time this year. Just at the end, we know how it ended, and I think that will comprise some of our bigger stories of the year.
Oh, yeah, it absolutely will.
How things ended. My top story of the day, money's flying all over the place. Deals being made everywhere. The NBA is flush. Still pretty quiet at 191 Beale Street. We'll see. I think deals are on the way, expected, needed, and we're all ready for a remade team built around Ja and Jaren. The moves that will be made are the ones not just for making the playoffs, but next spring you have to advance in the playoffs.
Yeah, got to. That's the biggest thing.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, it's the NFL news we got earlier today. There's a trade in the NFL.
Who won?
I kind of like it for both sides.
I do too.
I really like Jalen Ramsey, so I love him going to Pittsburgh and being a Steeler. Landon does not like Jalen Ramsey, I guess.
I love Minka Fitzpatrick.
I like Minka more than I like Jalen.
I do, yes.
Especially for where they're at in their careers.
And that's why I say I think both teams probably benefited from this trade. But very clear, like, the Steelers are trying to get a bunch of veterans in there.
I do really like Jonnu Smith, though.
Oh, yeah, Johnny Smith.
He's a player.
Yeah, he's a good player, and I think a good addition.
Former tight.
That's exactly
That's
right.
why I like him.
Yeah, so the Dolphins, they get Minka Fitzpatrick and a late-round pick. The Steelers get Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith. It was kind of weird how the reporting came out, because at first it looked like it was just Minka Fitzpatrick and maybe a pick for Jalen Ramsey. Then Jonnu Smith was added 15, 30 minutes later. But an interesting trade to go down at this point in the offseason. But we'll see. I think three really good players in this trade, and we'll see how all three of these guys are able to impact their next team.
My not top story of the day, the New York Yankees with their $300 million payroll with one more win than those plucky St. Louis Cardinals.
How about that?
Cardinals with a meager $135 million payroll with only one less win than the big bad Yankees. A lot of baseball left to play. In fact, about 48% of the season left to be played. But a really good first half through June for the Cardinals. and unexpected by most, except for real baseball knowers
Right.
like me,
Exactly right.
that on our preseason baseball predictions predicted Cardinals over the Yankees in the Fall Classic.
Sure did. Yeah. Let's not go back to last year's predictions or the year before that or the year before that
Or
or the
about
year before that.
22 years before
But hey,
that.
you know, when those two are playing in the World Series, Brett, we're gonna find that clip and we're gonna put it all
First
over
time
the
since
place.
1964.
We're gonna put it all over the place. So man, look at what Brett Norsworthy
It was like my
predicted.
Super Bowl overtime prediction.
Exactly.
Hit it not once but twice.
That's right.
since then.
That's exactly right. But I'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's get to our first break. And when we return, we're going to talk NBA free agency, some of the deals and trades that took place over the weekend, and what we expect to happen a little after 5 o'clock. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199. Pools, and more pools. Yes, it is pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure is already booking pool installs, so you need to buy now and get on that list. 24-foot pools start at $19.99 install. Liners are starting at $2.99. You're going to need some pool accessories, so they're all up to 20% off. Not quite ready for a pool? That's fine. Get a 5 or 6 person hot tub starting at under $7,000. You can also go for a swim spa or perhaps a cold plunge tub. Those are now $2,000 off. Get patio furniture up to 50% off on select sets. Buy your pool now. Get on that install list. Mention this commercial, and your install is free. It's underlined in the in-bold print, so you know it's big. It's pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. I wanted to take a minute and discuss advertising with you. There are so many websites that list the best service provider in your area. Even the BBB has an accredited list. You know the one thing they all have in common? A company like mine has to pay to get on that list. So that begs the question, can those lists be trusted? You know what can be trusted? History. We've been around for almost 30 years providing customers with the best service and the best products that we possibly can. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call. We'll come talk to you and let you decide for yourself whether or not we know what we're talking about. Fiveash Roof Services. Best products, best warranties, and in many cases, the best price. We're fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you. Hey, it's Mark and Ronnie at Dawson Hyundai South on Mount Moriah with his brand spanking new dealership. What's up, dude?
Randy, not only do I have a great new dealership, we've got service available that's less wait time than anyone in town. 16 service bays and immediate appointments available. Plus, a 2025 Hyundai Tucson SE, $288.75 per month and 3.99% available for 72 months. 2025 Hyundai Santa Fe SEL, $349.89 per month and 3.99 up to 60 months available. And a 2024 Hyundai Santa Cruz XRT all-wheel drive, $37,180. That's $5,000 off MSRP.
Plus America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get to Dawson Hyundai South, 2660 Mount Moriah, or shop online anytime. HyundaiMountMoriah.com.
Good afternoon. Trying to pick up out here in a couple of spots like 240 East as you come up past Poplar, Walnut Grove, headed towards Sam Cooper. Still looking good right now through Midtown. At least it was there a few minutes ago on 240 South at South Parkway. Plenty of radar south of Memphis this afternoon traveling down 55 certain sections through DeSoto County. Be careful. You're going to see a lot of radar this week, guaranteed. Dandelions, crabgrass, Lawn Solutions says give them a call here in Memphis. They'll take care of your yard this summer, make it look beautiful. Lawn Solutions 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus Service. Your underlies for Let's Start Sports with Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. We know here in about an hour and a half, free agency officially begins in the NBA. And I think a lot of people expecting a lot to happen later this evening, into the night, into tomorrow. Shams Charania earlier today on the Pat McAfee show said, quote, there's going to be some big deals tonight. So we'll have to wait and see what those big deals are, what goes down tonight at 5 o'clock. But we know a lot of names out there, a lot of guys that it feels like the Grizzlies could be going after, a couple of them, including Ty Jerome, which is probably the name that the Grizzlies are most linked to right now outside of their own team that they're going after. But we'll see. What do they get done this evening, tonight, before tomorrow? Are they fast? Are they active? Are they making a lot of moves? What are they doing? We'll find out here in a little bit.
In Cleveland, where he would be coming from, they've been making moves. I really like their trading for Isaac Okoro, or trading Isaac Okoro for Lonzo Ball. When Garland gets well, I don't think you'll ever see Ball and Garland on the floor at all.
Probably not. No. But I think
independent of each other, I really like it.
Sure, yeah, and Lonzo Ball I think is a good piece to kind of be that reserve, fill that role while Garland is out.
Big guard.
And I love Lonzo Ball. We know kind of the really strange history he's had the last couple of years with that injury and not being able to jump, and a lot of people thinking that his career was
put together a good career.
Oh yeah, but I mean a lot of people thought his career was over, that he would never be able to play basketball again. Yeah, and so the fact that he's been able to come back and now will be will play a role for Cleveland. Really cool story, and I'm excited to see how that works.
Here's my only reluctance. If Cleveland really thought to use the Zach Kleiman close, not close, if they really thought they were that close, except for the Garland injury, why are they making so many deals?
That's a good question. I think, like you said, you mentioned it in the first segment, like even a team like OKC, who was, by far the best team in the NBA, they still might have a hole or two, little holes that they want to improve. So if you're Cleveland, you go in there, you're a great team, but come playoff time, you really struggled. And so, I think you're looking at some of those kind of around the edges of how can we improve this? How can we get better so that next year, you're not in that same scenario. I know Ty Jerome, great regular season. When they got to the playoffs, he really struggled. And I think, they're looking at that of a guy that, do we really want to pay all this money? Do we really want to bring him back, when he really struggled in the postseason? And so I think that's why you see that type of move. Obviously, I think you bring in Lonzo Ball to have a little bit more depth come playoff time with your backcourt. So, yeah, I like what they're doing here to, try to avoid what happened last year.
You could make a case that Ty Jerome's regular season minutes were really stress-free last year because Cleveland, they had it going their way all year. When it hit some stress in the postseason, not so much.
Yeah, and that's the big question is, can you rely on him in the postseason? And that's really, you haven't been able to see that so far really in his career. But, you look at his three-point shooting, you look at that shot, and, I think if the Grizzlies can get him and they can get him on a deal, I think that'd be a huge addition for this team and what he can do. Not just a three-point shooter. I think you look at a guy like Luke Kennard. Really, all you're getting from him is three-point shooting.
That's about it.
Ty Jerome, he can get to the basket. Is really nice floater. Three-point shot is really good. Shot over 50, close to 55% from the field. But yeah, you want to start seeing him. If he is a Grizzly, you want to be able to rely on him in the postseason, and you just haven't really seen that yet from him.
Well, you never really could expect more than kind of the basic with Kennard.
That's right.
He would kind of what you saw is what you got. He'd give you what he had, but that was limited.
That's exactly right. And it was 3-point shooting, and I think everyone viewed him as a 3-point shooter.
Ball.
Sure, but we talked about it a lot. Where last year when he was so good until about the trade deadline, and then right after the trade deadline,
till about February, about the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean he really jumped off a cliff, and his production did at least.
Sure did.
And he just wasn't reliable. It wasn't consistent at all. And I don't mind the Grizzlies wanting to look somewhere else.
And he was perfect for a team that for a lot of the year didn't stress any defense.
Oh yeah. No, he was fine with that. Yeah,
Get it and shoot it.
that's right. And so I mentioned it earlier. That sounds like Houston's trying to get him.
Grizzlies
in.
didn't have many clock violations last year.
No. Defense was optional at times for them. But I think him going down to Houston could be a good fit for him, and could be scary. The amount of times you'll see Houston if you're the Grizzlies, and maybe some of that payback you could be getting from
His wish list.
Whew, that's a good question. I mean, I think Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a guy that a lot of people have been talking about of what's next for him after Minnesota. I think that's a guy that's probably pretty high up on their wish list. I think there's a couple other guys. I think the biggest question for me is what do they do at center? You got to bring in someone? I would think. What does that look like? Who's the guy that they're kind of looking at for that?
Jay Huff's not made for that.
No. And Zach Edey's going to be out for the start of the season. I've seen some people obviously say, well, just move Jaren over. I don't really want to do that, especially if you're thinking it could be a month or two before Zach Edey
That could
returns.
really affect offense too.
It really could. And so, I'm curious of if they are aggressive.
Foul prone could affect everything.
Exactly. So I just am curious, will they be aggressive with trying to bring in a center? And what does that center look like? Because I don't think they're going to go out there and break the bank or be super aggressive to try to get a starting caliber center. So I don't know what that center could look like.
To date, has DeAndre Ayton been a bust?
I would say so. He just hasn't really.
Can I nitpick a little?
Please.
Bust or miss?
Well, that's a good question. I would probably categorize him as a bust, but I think they're very similar.
Got some pretty good numbers.
But for Portland, and look at the teams he's been on. I mean, those are not.
It's a little like Kwame Brown was not a bust.
Right.
Bennett for Cleveland was.
Yes. But I mean, I just you look at his stats, and it just kind of at times feels like it's your stat padding for a team that's going nowhere. And so I think maybe the answer is where he goes after this. Does he
7 foot? Somebody's got to score.
Sure. You could. At 7 foot, you can at least get in the basket a couple times and grab a couple rebounds. That should be pretty easy to do at 7 foot. So I don't know.
Never any impact.
No,
anything meaningful.
Certainly not. And that's why I don't know. It sounds like the Lakers are going to make a run at him.
Phoenix was ready-made situation for him.
Oh yeah, and I mean they were ready to get rid of him at as early as they could,
as soon as they could move on.
Yeah, and so that's kind of why I'm more on a bust for him.
Not really injured, so Greg Oden, I would defend him that was injury, not bust.
Yeah, but
a million years ago, Sam Bowie injury.
Yeah, and so I don't really love the idea of a fit for him in LA with the Lakers, but we'll see if they make a run at him and what he can do. If he's averaging a double-double with the Lakers, then maybe we're having a different conversation. Maybe it was just, hey,
won't that
not
be
the
easy to do though?
I mean, maybe, but
you got two big aircraft carriers on your team.
That's true. That's true. But I guess when you have those two guys, you don't get
Float
as
in
much
a little
shots.
boat and
Sure.
pad your
Yeah. Just
stat
play your
line.
role. Play your role. But I kind of hate that fit of him going to the
Anybody
Lakers.
the Lakers sign, LeBron signs off on, don't they?
Oh,
doesn't he?
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
They clear it through him. They and should.
Yeah, absolutely should.
He certainly is deserving of that.
Oh, definitely. And so, I remember talking about centers for them. I know there's been some reports of a couple guys they're looking at, but I go back to last year when they brought in Luka, and the reports that they asked Luka what type of center do you play best with, and that he said a guy that can run, get up and down the court, a lob threat, that type of guy. And so we'll see if they go after a guy like that. I don't know if I think DeAndre Ayton is that type of center that can fit that role, but there are a couple guys that they're looking at, and that's definitely a big need for them. What did you make of the story about Malik Beasley? That's not good.
I think it's very sad. It's easy, and I probably will at some point crack on him about judgment and poor decisions. That all stands out. But we knew it was coming. We know it's more than that out there. And Bryant, a guy that knows he just has to stay alive and not run afoul of the rules.
Oh, yeah.
And at some point, $42 million will be magically deposited into his account. And he does it.
Yeah.
What do you think's happening in college?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing is, Malik Beasley, and it's funny that this all came out yesterday, and then today Terry Rozier was cleared of anything that that came out about a year ago, close to a little less than a year ago.
But the damage was done to his reputation.
It absolutely was, and he's not on a roster right now because of that. And so who knows what happens now that he is.
You might
cleared
sign
of
the BYU quarterback before you do him.
Yeah, well, and that's what I'm curious with Terry Rozier is now that he's been cleared of his involvement. What is that? Are people trying to go and grab him? Is he on a roster on opening day? But you look at Malik Beasley, and this is a guy that has been awesome in the NBA. He's been really, really good. A guy that was going to be is a free agent this year, and thought to be one of the biggest free agents out there. And now this news drops yesterday, and now it's okay. What does this look like now? This is tricky.
Now, not me individually, but kind of we collectively examining every video like the Zapruder film.
Oh yeah,
and we're watching his every turnover, suspect or not. Everything's being examined and drilled down.
Yeah, I mean, you just spend 10 minutes on social media, and you'll see a bunch of clips.
Oh, there
of
it
Malik
is.
Beasley.
He was on the take in this one.
Look at this. What was going on here? Why is he doing this? So,
and I don't know why he did it. I would bet. Horrible verbiage. I would imagine that he was doing that helping buddies.
Probably. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Hey, y'all get you a little piece of this. Keep your mouth shut.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, you're probably right. And so definitely a weird situation for him, and not a good situation when the.
And I can't prove anything in college. I don't know of anything in college. But again, if it can get a guy that's got $42 million at risk, I mean, every 19 and 20-year-old, but we beg for it. Now, I also saw some pushback of, we asked for it. And I saw a Twitter thread of kind of, everybody's pregame read on, tonight's, FanDuel plays the game.
Sure.
Just because you have that, you still know you're not supposed to bet on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
that's a cop out.
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely is. So I don't get it, but
I mean, it's a whole put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame because everything he did now is legal. No, it's not.
No,
it is not.
No.
The Major League Baseball can still make rules that if you want to be employed by them, it might be contrary to a law in the state or in the country.
Well, I mean, we have Rob Fisher on all the time, and he's the one doing those pregame, parlays and stuff like that. And he always tells us when he's on with us, well, I can't bet on the NBA, but if I was looking at it, this is what I would pitch.
I would guarantee you he does not.
Right.
I know he does not.
Right. And so
because he's not messing up that
Certainly
over
not.
a $5 player prop.
No, and so I mean, obviously,
or
if
$5 million, he's not doing it.
Yeah, but I mean, if if those guys are held to that standard of you can't bet on this sport, obviously the players are going to be held to a much larger standard than that, and coaches and all the way down the line.
It's as simple as those players drinking. If you're over 21 years of age, we know it's legal.
Yeah.
You still can't drive drunk.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
just because you have advertising in the building on the team, it doesn't mean you can.
Yeah.
You can bet on it.
Yeah, so it's really sad, really sticky situation. I mean, anytime the U.S. Attorney's Office is looking into you, that's it's not great. That is not great at all. So,
and usually, Brian, when it's gotten to that level, when that case file hits to that point, they've kind of got you.
Oh yeah, well, and it's the same group that went after Jonte Porter, and we know the extent of everything that happened there. So it does not look good for Malik Beasley. But we'll see here in Alma. We're about to be down to an hour before we start seeing moves made, free agency
Countdown
officially open. It is definitely on, and we'll see what happens. Last one before we get out here, Zaire Williams signed a 2-year, $12 million deal with Brooklyn. So the former Grizzly
Way to go.
getting a nice little paycheck going into next season.
James Harden, big cash.
Oh yeah, James Harden signing a big deal. I mean, it was definitely a newsy weekend in terms of guys re-upping. $81.5 million for James Harden. Yeah,
Russell Westbrook will be
take
next.
that.
He may not get that, but he'll get
he'll get
he'll
something.
get two, and that'll take Westbrook and Harden to the end. Won't it?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Those are we talked about LeBron James a lot. Those are also two guys that are nearing the end of their career. But hopefully, like Shams Charania said earlier today on ESPN, hopefully we see some big deals tonight as free agency opens at 5 o'clock. But let's get to another break, and when we return, we got to talk some Major League Baseball. Busy weekend, really. Only thing on in the sports world was Major League Baseball. Cardinals get a sweep. Landon's Mets moving in the wrong direction. We'll talk all of that next on Sports Time.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You know, sometimes I wish I had a gun.
Well, I'm armed, but before I bought one, I still went to Top Gun Academy to learn to protect myself without a gun.
How is that possible?
Top Gun's personal protection training. It's perfect if you want to protect yourself without firearms.
I don't know.
And it's perfect if you feel the need to carry a gun for self-defense, because the last thing you really want to do is shoot.
That is scary.
Not at Top Gun. It's very comfortable, and you learn to load, handle, and shoot a handgun safely. Protect yourself. Go to Top Gun Academy. They're at 2770 Witten Road.
One thing Bell Tavern can say with confidence is that you won't find a better selection of bourbon, whiskey, and scotch anywhere else in Memphis. Maybe anywhere. With signature cocktails like the 3 Whiskey Old Fashioned, the Barrel-Aged Manhattan, and the Spicy Margarita, paired with the whiskey flights like the Tennessee Bourbon Flight and the Maker's Mark Flight. There are more amazing drink options at Bell Tavern than you could possibly work your way through in one visit. In fact, it would take many, many visits to Bell Tavern to even make a dent in the extensive selection. Grab an Uber and head to Bell Tavern.
The Black Friday in July event from Dell Technologies is here with great offers on trusted technology. You'll also discover huge deals on new AI-ready laptops like the Dell 14 Plus featuring Intel Core Ultra processors starting at $699.99. Save on top accessories, plus enjoy fast, free shipping and other benefits. Upgrade today by visiting Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals. All 6 to the acquisition fee, 20,000 miles per year. K4 SE 137,210, MSRP 24,340, K5 S536, 6209, MSRP 29,170, Sportage SG 271,17, 55, MSRP 34,115, Telluride SG 66, 2001, MSRP 41,060. Must finance through KFA, excludes tax title and license with approved credit dealer stock only. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 07220. Hey, Jeff Allen, I hear the Gossett Kia summer sticker sales event is on now at Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah.
It sure is, Randy, and listen to this. I've got a 2025 Kia K4 LXS at $150 a month. That's $5 a day for a new ride. 2025 Kia K5 LXS, $265 a month. 2025 Kia Sportage X-Line, $275 a month. Plus, 2025 Kia Telluride S front-wheel drive, $359 per month. All $49.99 due at signing, 24-month lease.
Plus a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty in the all-new 2026 EV9 with 72 months and 3.49 available.
So if you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. Their There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work in them by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of area jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Area just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Area boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you for water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus Service. Here are your hosts, Let's Talk Sports with Brian Gates.
Well, it's a good weekend for the St. Louis Cardinals, a sweep over the Guardians, a weekend where they outscored Cleveland 21-6. The bats were hot even on Saturday, the only day that Cleveland scored a run. Got up, scored 6 runs, but then the Cardinals were able to fight back and get the win. So really nice weekend for the Cardinals, and we'll see what they can do now as now they get the Pirates.
Friday night, Apple TV, so I listened to the Cardinals, was fine by it, and then Saturday was on Fox Sports Midwest. And on Sunday, it was listed, and it was on the Roku machine. And I thought, I bet I don't get that. So I put it on 720 on DirecTV to the full MLB network or MLB package of all the games, and it had it there. I thought, I bet I just have to watch it there. When you click on it, it'll kick you off. It didn't. So I watched the Roku. Brian, man, those commercials on the Roku.
Yeah, no, it's it's not just the Roku. I have to deal with those commercials any game I watch outside of the Cardinals or the Braves or the
So
Reds.
Baseball Zen is on all that?
On anything on my MLB.TV on my computer, that's the only commercials they show, or the Baseball Zen and some of those other commercials.
So when I turned it on, and it quickly went to a commercial, and I looked away or something. And I see that, and I thought, well, now it's kicked me off, and it's just kind of showing that. Wow, that was freaky.
It's something. The first couple of times I watched
they ought to call it baseball edibles.
Well, it's what it almost feels like, because it is. But hey, it's relax you, a little zen in your life, it's
the pitcher kicking at the rubber on the mound.
Yeah,
it was freaky.
No, it is, and yeah, it's something I have to deal with every day, Brett. So I've gotten used to it. It doesn't bother me as much as it used to, but I did not like this commercial.
Good weekend for the Cardinals. I think Cleveland's a good team. Cleveland's now playing like everybody else in the American League Central. They're playing for a wild card.
Yeah.
Detroit's running off and hiding.
Yeah, no, and Detroit, good win for them last night. 3-0 over the Twins. Skubal was electric.
Everybody knows how to pronounce his name now.
Oh yeah, no, it's easy now. Everyone's got it. Best pitcher on the
10 up
planet.
on Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. They are. We saw it last year. Them getting into the playoffs and being this fun story of, hey, look what Detroit is building, and now this year they've completely capitalized on him. 53
it's
wins
AJ
already.
Hinch.
Oh yeah, it absolutely is. But I mean, it's June 30th. We're not even to July yet, and they got 53 wins. I mean, that is insane for Detroit.
They were trying to tossed the towel last year and got hot.
Yeah, no, we were talking about it around trade deadline of what do? Do you make some trades? Do you go for it? They made the decision to go for it, had a little, postseason run, and then now this
Javi
year.
Baez is a winner.
Oh, yeah, no, he definitely is. Javi Baez is a really fun player, and they've got a lot of really young guys and guys that have stepped in and really played their role extremely well. So, no, this is a really fun team to watch.
I mentioned the Yankees at 48 wins in my not top story, picking at the Yankees in their payroll compared to little old poor St. Louis. I mean, it's rough out there for the Cardinals at only $135 million. There are some that still want the Cardinals to do stuff at deadline time, and there are some saying the worst thing in the world could happen for the Cardinals is maybe even win the Central, but definitely squeeze in the playoffs, and then DeWitt's go, see, it can be done like that.
Yeah.
We don't spend any money this offseason either.
Yeah, that's something I haven't thought about, Brett, but you're exactly right. I mean, if they can
We were right.
If they can just get in the playoffs, then it's, look at what we're building. Look, we're going in the right direction, and we didn't have to do anything, and get ready for this in the future. So, yeah, that's a very real possibility and one that I've not considered, but it terrifies me.
Now, I do think baseball they've set it up right with the wild cards, everything. If you're the lesser seed, like the Cardinals, they're the 6 against whoever the 3 would be today. That would be Cardinals would be the 6 against the 3, Philadelphia. That would all be at Citizens Bank in Philly, and it should be.
It absolutely should be. Yeah, I think that's.
And in that case, Philly would have won a division. They shouldn't have to go on the road, 2 out of 3.
No, not at all. So yeah, I think they're doing it the right way. You mentioned 48-win teams. The Mets fall in that category, except if you've been watching them lately, they do not look like a 48-win team.
They don't. The injuries have hit.
Yeah.
I mean, they were about to get really healthy with pitching and have maybe too much, and you never can because then things happen.
Yeah, and now you're seeing a ton of pitching on the IL right now. 13 of their last 16 have been lost. And over the weekend against the Pirates, this is not a good Pirates team. Got outscored 30-4 over the weekend in that 3-game series. I mean, that is not good at all for the Mets.
Right, did you bounce around box score to box score and see the attendance over the weekend at everywhere?
I did not. Tell me about it.
It was outstanding.
Good.
I think the worst crowd of the weekend was listed at 20. We know the fudge factor.
Sure.
I think the worst one, where was it? Anyway, everywhere else drew really well.
Yeah. Well, you could tell watching the games over the weekend.
Maybe, where was it? Somebody had 20,000 some change at one game. Baltimore. And they're, they've already fired a manager, and they've really underachieved, and playing Tampa Bay. That doesn't sell a lot of tickets.
No, definitely not. But, hey, I mean, you could see it. Just watching the games of the weekend.
Even on the south
really
side in Chicago, good crowds all weekend.
That's awesome. That's great. I'm glad to see it. And there's some really good games over the weekend, some really good series over the weekend. And so we'll see lighter slate tonight, but Cardinals in action tonight on the road against the Pirates. We'll see what happens there. Chase Burns making his second MLB start after a pretty good first outing against the Yankees. He'll be on the road later tonight against the Boston Red Sox. Let's go ahead and put a wrap on this hour. And when we return, we're switching gears. We're talking college football and college basketball. David Cobb from CBS Sports. He joins us next.
Unleash the power. Make every mile count in your new Volkswagen from Gossett Volkswagen on the bike. Available right now, 2025 Jetta SN 2025 Taos, 4.9 for 60 months. 2025 Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport, 3.9% for 60 months. And 1,500 loyalty rebate on all 2025 GTIs, Jettas, Taos, Tiguan's Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport. Plus 5,000 off 2024 Atlas Cross Sport SELR line. But only 2 left, so you better hurry to Gossett Volkswagen. 1875 Covington Pike or online anytime at GossettVWMemphis.com. That's Gossett, charging forward and charging less every day. If you want it, we got it at Gossett Volkswagen. 2024 Atlas, RC 226135, MSRP 51733, RC 227219, MSRP 52133. Must finance through Volkswagen Credit. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 895. Excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. With approved credit dealer stock only.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. Skill Bridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home in Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
All 650 acquisition fee, 20,000 miles per year. K4 SE 137 210, MSRP 24 340, K5 S5 36 6209, MSRP 29 170, Sportage SG 270 117 55, MSRP 34 115, Telluride SG 66 2001, MSRP 41 060. Must finance through KFA, excludes tax title and license with approved credit dealer stock only. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 07225.
Hey, Jeff Allen, I hear the Gossett Kia Summer Sticker Sales event is on now at Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah.
It sure is, Randy, and listen to this. I've got a 2025 Kia K4 LXS at $150 a month. That's $5 a day for a new ride. 2025 Kia K5 LXS, $265 a month. 2025 Kia Sportage X-Line, $275 a month. Plus 2025 Kia Telluride S front-wheel drive, $359 per month. All $49.99 due at signing, 24-month lease.
Plus a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty in the all-new 2026 EV9 with 72 months and 3.49 available.
So if you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? We have it covered at Humdingers. It's quick, it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. Many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdingers, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdingers offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more. Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Still a few lingering showers out here in certain areas. Starting to build again on 240 East from Mill Branch all the way out to 385 as you get on to Bill Morris Parkway, headed out towards Collierville, trying to get north of town on 51 as you work your way up into Millington. That seems to have picked up even more in the last few minutes. Weimer's Jewelry, your diamond engagement ring headquarters this bridal season. Stop by and see them. You'll save a lot of money by shopping local at Weimer's Jewelry out there on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Original sports station. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Joining Brian and Brett now on Sports Time is National College Football writer for CBS Sports, Memphis native and Tennessee grad, who you can find on Twitter X at David W. Cobb. It's David Cobb.
David Cobb joins us now from CBS Sports, where he covers college football and college basketball. David, thanks so much for joining us. Texas State Pac-12 has a ring to it. I don't know if it's a nice ring, but it has a ring to it. What do you make of Texas State joining the Pac-12 with that announcement coming earlier today?
It kind of reeks of desperation, doesn't
Sure
it?
does.
This rebranded Pac-12 that was supposed to be something pretty special. They struck out, man. They struck out on Memphis and Tulane and South Florida, and now they're going to a option C. I mean, that might be generous. No offense to Texas State. They're a pretty new Division I program. They're putting things together on the football side decently well, but you look at the collection of schools that are in that Pac-12, which, oh, by the way, is really only a Pac-8. And it's I don't think Texas State meets the historic standard of what they were looking for when they reassembled this thing, because you got Boise and Fresno and Oregon State and Washington State and all these programs that have had moments of glory over the past 25 years or so. And then you got Texas State, the two-time reigning First Responder Bowl champions. Okay, I mean they're trying to make their way in this Division I, but the only success to speak of that they've had is over the last 2 years, and then you get into basketball and there's really nothing there. So it's it's a bottom of the barrel sort of move for a league that is just literally trying to get enough members to exist, and so that's what it is, and it's pretty underwhelming.
David, there was a time in the early 90s, I'm going to say the first big domino was Notre Dame and their NBC deal for football. That wasn't conference realignment, but that was a new kind of a new log on the fire for college sports, for somebody to have their own deal like that. And then shortly thereafter was the SEC wanting, with no favoritism between the two, they wanted both of them coming in together, Arkansas and Florida State. And Florida State famously turned down the SEC. And then a little bit reactionary, the SEC turned to South Carolina. That had been a lot of different things. Metro for basketball, it had been in the ACC, it had been independent. I mean, they'd tried everything. At that time, the biggest rumor of who would be next was Texas, the Longhorns, joining the Pac-12. And on these airwaves, George Lapid has openly said, that's a long way to go from Austin to Seattle to play baseball and tennis in the spring. How can Texas State afford it if Texas had the good sense 30 years ago not to do it?
Yeah, I guess they're looking at it and seeing a media rights agreement that is at least somewhat better than what they currently have in the Sun Belt. And they're seeing a logo. I think some people are getting fooled by that Pac-12 logo because it conjures nostalgia of a bygone era. And you mentioned it, Brett. There was a time when the Pac-12 was the richest of them all, when they had the biggest TV rights deal. They were in negotiations to get Texas, and it looked like the Pac-12 might secure the power in college sports that eventually went to the SEC. Part of the hang-up was Texas wanted a sweetheart deal. They wanted to do their Longhorn network, and the Pac-12 wasn't gonna have that. Their members wanted no part of it. And in retrospect, how hilarious is it that the Pac-12 was too hoity-toity to let Texas have an extra slice of the pie with their own network, and now here we are, 15 years later, and they're going for Texas State just so they can have enough members to play football. What a historically bad collapse. And
should anybody tell Texas State that winning the Pac-12 doesn't get you in the Rose Bowl anymore?
They better make sure they're well aware of that. And honestly, will they even be competitive in that league? They've made some inroads in the Sun Belt, which is a decent league. It's better than CUSA. It's better than the MAC. But the Pac-12 will be another upgrade in football in terms of the competition with the Fresno States and Boise States and Washington State, Oregon State again. So it's going to be tough for them. But everything, it seems like, is about the money these days. Geography be danged. And I think the way Ed Scott in Memphis handled this, I actually think they handled it well. I realize it would be more exciting to sell a season ticket package that involved Boise State and Washington State coming to Memphis, as opposed to trying to sell one where you're pitching East Carolina and Charlotte as if
Rice.
It's tough, right, from a ticket and just general interest perspective. But the money isn't better. The money is not better. In fact, if you factor in the travel, you factor in the logistics, it's worse because you're going to have to send volleyball and soccer and all these other sports across the country multiple times a year. It doesn't make any sense for a payout that is. I don't think it's better from the numbers I've seen. I think it might be a little bit worse. And so, yeah, I mean, Memphis may eventually go that route for football. Like, I think that could make sense, football only, because then you're talking about 3 or 4 trips a year of that magnitude. But if you're sending every other sport out there, it doesn't make sense. Texas State, I guess, is close enough to where, all right, well, you were going to Coastal Carolina, you were going to James Madison. That's pretty far from San Marcos, Texas. Now you're going to the west instead.
Going to
but if the
Marshall.
money's enough better, I can see where it makes sense for Texas State. But I still have a hard time really believing that it made sense for Memphis.
You went through those conferences. Is the AAC better than the Sun Belt?
It depends. If the service academies are up, like they were last year, then yeah, I think so. But it kind of depends on the academies, and then it depends on like a South Florida getting to where we think it can go in football. That's one of the key determining factors in my mind, because you got Memphis and Tulane kind of driving the boat right now in football, and you need a little bit more depth. But yeah, I mean, you had that last year because Army and Navy were pretty close to as good as they've ever simultaneously been, at least in this century. And so, I mean, that was huge for the AAC because you added at least a little bit more heft at the top, a little bit more of a national sort of brand there with those two. So I actually, I think the league leadership caught some flack for adding the service academies, and it's like, and I get it. It's like, really, we expect Army and Navy to move the needle, and well, I mean, they kind of did last year. I mean, they were both ranked at various times, and they did actually add something. So it's I think the American in my mind is still
we've
the best.
Patiently waited on South Florida, though, haven't we?
Yeah, it's kind of like, all right, guys, it's time to really get it going here. Everybody was anointing Alex Golesh after his first season, but then he goes 7-6 again, and now it's like, all right, like, are you guys going to get there? He was sort of the Josh Heupel disciple who got the job after working with Hendon Hooker, and we all sort of thought, all right, like, he's going to get this thing going pretty quickly. And I mean, they've made back-to-back bowl games, and they're not bad, but they're that team that everyone's kind of waiting on, right? Like, if South Florida gets good again, or depending on again, like, how good were they? They produced some good coaches. I'll say that. Like, you had Willie Taggart come through there, and Skip Holtz had it going for a while, and Charlie Strong, he was at least a name. But anyway, yeah, if they could get to a competitive level along the lines of a Memphis and a Tulane, it would make things harder for Memphis, but I think it would raise the profile of the league.
Yeah, absolutely. David, you wrote about a week ago over on CBS Sports, you graded the first-year head coaches and their 2025 rosters. Obviously, Bill Belichick, the big name on that list. It feels like kind of all the off-the-field stuff have kind of quieted down as we've gotten to the summer, which is definitely good for North Carolina and for Bill Belichick. But what do you expect to see from this North Carolina team this upcoming season?
Yeah, that's a tough question. For one thing, I mean, we still don't really have a ton of clarity at quarterback because they brought in Gio Lopez from South Alabama. But, I mean, come on, that's why I only gave them a B+, because I think he's a good G5 quarterback. He's fun to watch. Like, he's got some wiggle to his game. But, I mean, we all kind of thought that North Carolina was going big game hunting at QB, and they didn't. They ended up with a decent transfer up former Sun Belt guy, and so that was a bit disappointing. So is it going to be him, or is Max Johnson going to be healthy enough to win that job back after he got his leg injury in the first game last season was just gruesome and really, really brutal. So that's an interesting place to jump off. Is like, one, we don't even know who their quarterback is going to be. But for this reason, I think North Carolina is reasonably well equipped to be competitive in the ACC. I don't think they're going to win the ACC. I don't think we're talking about a 10-win team here. But if you go and look at what North Carolina did along the offensive line in the portal, it's actually pretty impressive because these other first-year rosters that I went through, it's tough. I mean, it's tough. When you don't have a deep bag or you prioritize other positions above offensive line, it's hard to find quality offensive linemen on a budget in college football out of the portal. What sets North Carolina apart, at least from its peers with first-year coaches, is that, like, Okay, Belichick actually has 8 or 9 pretty quality offensive linemen, and that's going to give them a chance because Mac Brown's team always faded in November. They would get to number 15. They would start 7-1 or something along those lines, and you'd be pretty fired up about them, but they always faded late. I at least think there's a chance that this UNC team under Belichick can hang in there and be competitive late into the season.
David Cobb is our guest. He's on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. And we visit with David every Monday, year-round, college football and college basketball. David, you mentioned Hendon Hooker. I got a feature column idea for you. So every year we have a quarterback that nobody's talking about at SEC Media Days or any of the media days or any of the run-up. Me, 100% guilty. I did not even know the proper pronunciation of Johnny Manziel's name. I was calling him Manziel. Everybody had written Cam Newton off. Hardly remembered him even transferring from Florida to Auburn. We had Max Dugan a few years ago at TCU. You mentioned Hendon Hooker. He didn't start opening game that year. Jalen Hurts didn't start opening game for Alabama against USC that year in Dallas. They had a different starter. Do you have a list of guys that could be unknown now that will be very known at the end of the year at quarterback? And mine is in bright letters. It's at Alabama.
Oh, without a doubt. Ty Simpson working with Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer. I mean, they now have. Oh no, DeBoer.
It's not Simpson. Mine's Keelan Russell coming off the bench.
No way. You think that's potentially in the cards right out of the gate?
Yeah. No. Well, maybe not out of the gate, but like I said, like Jalen Hurts didn't start opening day, but you start Ty Simpson and maybe scuffle a little bit with him at FSU and maybe even a 3-0 start after Lou Monroe in Wisconsin, and then you see the phenom and you put him in.
It could go that way. That would be, I guess, not altogether shocking, to be honest. Given that he's a guy they recruited, he's the
Ty
future.
Simpson's had every shot. He's been there since Stedman Shealy was quarterback at Alabama.
Yeah. I just, in some ways, it feels like you're punting on the season a little bit if you go to the true freshman, because there's just so much volatility there. I mean, you look at the teams that start true freshmen in this era. I feel like it's pretty rarely your high-end competitors. I mean, you had Nebraska do it last year with Dylan Raiola, but the reason they're doing that is because they wanted to set themselves up for the future and give him as many reps as they can. In this era, it's pretty rare for the true freshman to get the nod. Keelan Russell could be that generational talent who's worthy of it, and in that Alabama system, I think he could do pretty well. Ty Simpson's going to get every shot to hold down that job. But you look at Tennessee.
He's got to play himself out, doesn't he?
Oh, without a doubt. I'll give you another one, though. I mean, it's Tennessee with Joey Aguilar, bringing him in from App State via a brief stop at UCLA. But, I mean, you got George McIntyre there waiting in the wings. You've got another highly touted freshman quarterback on that roster, and Jake Merklinger, redshirt freshman. So you got two, former very, very highly touted freshmen there at Tennessee. And obviously they didn't feel good enough about those two guys to just let Nico walk without bringing in a backup plan. But, if Aguilar isn't hitting and Tennessee's out of the playoff picture, I mean, we could see them go the Tyler Bray route of, all right, November comes along, what do we got to lose? Let's turn it over to one of these guys. And that could be really interesting because I don't view this Tennessee team as – I don't view them as a playoff contender. I don't think they did enough in the portal offensively to really have that sort of ability. I mean, they'll have to get lucky, I think, and win some close games, get some good bounces. I think their defense is going to be pretty good again. But I'm not all the way in on that offense this year, even though it's Josh Heupel, right? I mean, I kind of think they didn't do enough at receiver. They're losing Dylan Sampson. I think it could be a sort of a down year for that offense, in which case, yeah, I mean, maybe they go to a freshman quarterback earlier than later.
David, I saw Tyler Bray put 50 on Ole Miss in 2010 at Neyland.
Yeah, I saw him not too long thereafter in Nashville at Vanderbilt, and they came to Memphis that year too, his freshman year, and he had a big game there, he had a nice career. He obviously left a year early and sort of what could have been there. But his last team that had Derrick Rogers and Justin Hunter at receiver, my gosh, like they were Michael Rivera at tight end. That was a really good. I think all 5 of those offensive linemen at one point played in the NFL, and 2 or 3 of them played in the NFL for a long time. But they had Sal Sinceri at defensive coordinator, and they could not stop a nosebleed. That is actually, I didn't even mention, Cordero Patterson was on that team as well, if memory serves me correctly.
As a receiver, they hadn't moved him running back yet.
No, but he's one of the most gifted players I've ever seen in person. And
I told Bryant this story that day, David, and then our syndicator was Telesouth, great group out of Jackson, really good to me. And that week, nice lady in charge, Kim Dillon, called me and said, "Hey, we're going to do pregame and postgame at Calhoun's on the river. You ready for that?" I said, "Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun." So Ole Miss radio crew, we're doing pregame at Calhoun's, real early start. So it wasn't too bad pregame. It was rather fun. Post game, after losing, I think 50-10, maybe 52-10, 50-something to 10. It was really bad. We're there, and I mean, by the first break, the people in there were going, "What are y'all doing here? I mean, why are we getting the Ole Miss post game after a rout in here?" And Gary Darby said, "We'll kill the PA and we'll just go out over the network."
That's fantastic. Yeah, there's Calhoun's on.
And to make matters worse, driving back, Gary Darby said, "Brett, we stop at the first chain steak place and get us a Big O steak." So we stopped in Cookeville to eat. And that year, Ole Miss had opened losing infamously to Jacksonville State. So we stopped in Cookeville. We got, full Ole Miss gear on, starving to death. Go in there, and that day, Jacksonville State was playing Tennessee Tech in Cookeville. So when we walked in the chain steak place, all the Jacksonville State fans are in there, and they're all going, "Who'd y'all lose to today?"
I'm glad you can laugh in it. I'm glad you can laugh about it now, Brett, because I'm sure at the time that was probably not a very fun day.
Wanted to die.
No.
The greener times now, greener pastures for Ole Miss football these days.
Absolutely. But we all have those days, whether in writing, radio, whatever it is, you want to die, and that was one of them for me.
Well, that was the entirety of my experience as a student journalist at Tennessee, and now I'm so glad that going the reporter route helped me to emotionally de-invest a little bit. Because had I been as emotionally invested,
it stripped it out of you. It did.
Oh, yeah, and I'm honestly, I'm kind of glad it did, because it would have been brutal as a regular student, as big of a fan as I was growing up. If I had just been there as like Mr. Rocky Top Rowdy, front row of the student section, those 4 years.
If you'd been there in the Peyton years, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, it would have been really tough on me. I mean, honestly. And so to a certain extent, I'm glad that I had to have that, that straight face in the press box, because it would have been really tough otherwise, because I covered some bad Tennessee football.
Yeah. David, before we get you out of here, I want your thoughts on the Dane Danger situation. NCAA, they turned down his waiver for an additional year of eligibility. There had been some talk. We had discussed it before of, do you go the legal route if they do decline that? But he has already joined the Miami Heat Summer League team, so it does not look like that will be an option. What did you make of the NCAA's decision, and how do you view this Tiger basketball roster right now?
Yeah, I think it's a tough break for Dane Danger, because he played through an era in which a lot of his peers got 5 full seasons of on-the-court action. He got 3 full seasons of on-the-court action, and I understand the NCAA's principles and the circumstances around the timing of when he left Baylor and all that. I get their reasoning, but just, when you look at it from afar, without getting into the minutia of the ruling, I think it's a really tough break for the young man who, a lot of his peers played 160-something games of college basketball, and here he is, played 3 seasons, and he's not going to get another because of, just some technicalities on when he transferred and all that. And it's really tough for Dane Danger, and it is brutally tough for Memphis basketball. Brutally tough, because at this point in the calendar, there are not big men in the portal who you want on your team. There are just not. And so they're going to have probably, I would guess, have to go the international route, or you could get somebody who has the ability to reclassify from the class of 2026 to be a part of your roster this year. Now, if you get a Jalen Duren, okay, that works out fine. I don't think there's a Jalen Duren out there who's going to be doing that and joining Memphis basketball in the next month. I'd love to be wrong on that. If he's out there, I'm not aware of him, and if it happens, great. But just playing the odds, it would seem to me as though maybe there's an international guy out there who they're looking at to come over, because that is the flavor of the day in college basketball. But they've got to get some reinforcements on that front line, because Aaron Bradshaw, for as tall and as gifted as he is, he's not a bruiser. And you got to have at least one bruiser on a college basketball team, even if you want to play small.
Yeah.
And so I'm a little worried about this roster. I think it's just missing. It's missing a Dane Danger, and maybe a shooter or two.
Yeah.
So good enough to win the AAC? Yes, absolutely. Are they the favorite to win the AAC? I think there's a legitimate case to be made for South Florida and what they are doing, rebooting down there under Brian Hodgson. And Memphis fans, I don't need to remind them how good of a coach Brian Hodgson is. He showed that at FedEx Forum with Arkansas State just a few months back. So that is my concern with Memphis right now, is the emergence of South Florida, the lack of a big man. If Penny's able to go out there and work some magic and pull a big man out of the hat, then let's revisit it. But it's going to be tough because there just aren't a lot of options at this stage.
Well, David, you are looking into your crystal ball, because Memphis did just, in fact, sign a 7-footer from the international route. He is from South Sudan, but played in Serbia last season in, I want to say, one of Serbia's professional leagues. I don't know if it's their top league or not.
That passport?
But
Wow.
that is crazy. Simon Majok, I'm just gonna
do my homework on him. I'm seeing it right now, and I promise you, I didn't actually know that was about to happen. I just was legitimately playing the odds and saying this has got to be an international guy, because Penny had said they were going to get somebody. Yeah, so as we're talking about it, that's good. I'll dive in a little deeper on him, but some of these guys have potential. It's sometimes it can be really difficult to know exactly what you're getting from the international ranks. But if the guy has played for his international team at all, in any of the FIBA events, that's big time. So hey, they had to do something and they did it. So we'll kind of see how he shakes out. But that's significant. They had to go out. They had to get somebody with some size.
This is all I have on him right now, looking at Eurobasket. He played 7 games last season in Serbia. In those 7 games, averaged 30 minutes, 17.3 points, shooting 66.7% inside the three-point arc, and grabbed 9 rebounds and 2.6 block shots per game. I think you can work with that. I think you can do something with that.
Yeah, I don't care if you're playing against the church leaguers on a Tuesday night. That's not bad.
Yeah,
so
it really
is. I'm also curious. I want to see how old he is. Because some of these international guys are coming over. They're 21 years old already.
Born in 2006. So.
Oh no, he's young.
He's pretty young. Yeah.
Okay, but that's all right. All right. So I'm cautiously optimistic about this. We'll see how he plays out, but that's something they needed, and he's got size. Sounds like he brings some rim protection. So between him and Aaron Bradshaw, they'll be able to protect the rim.
Yeah.
Will they have that skilled offensive big like a Dane Danger? Maybe not. That's probably what you're going to lose. Dane Danger was very skilled offensively. A lot of times the international guys, that's something they got to add to the bag, but. I would say an encouraging bit of news as we've been talking.
Yeah.
And the Tiger staff got Danger better as the year went on, particularly in that low block with that drop step.
Oh yeah, he was so silky smooth in the traditional post up, and that's something I've been sounding the alarm on about Aaron Bradshaw. Is, hey, look everybody, I don't want to make people unexcited about Aaron Bradshaw. He's a former McDonald's All-American, 5-star prospect in his day. And he's shown flashes at times at Kentucky, at Ohio State, but he's not a guy who you dump the ball down to on the block and say, hey, man, go get us a bucket. He's a guy that you throw a lob up to, or he kind of faces up a little bit as opposed to backing you down. And there's a place for that, within a certain system, but he's just a vastly, vastly different player than a Dane Danger.
Yeah, well, we'll see what this edition means, if there's any other editions coming down the line for the Tigers. But David, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Yeah, happy 4th, and we'll talk to you again on Monday.
Yeah, same to you guys. Talk to you next week.
Thanks, David.
Thank you, David.
David Cobb joining us, talk college football, college basketball. Who would have thought, Brett? We thought we were going to get a lot of breaking NBA news, but there's a little bit of breaking Tiger basketball news.
Way to go.
I'm just getting a lot of information on him, kind of looking him up as we speak. He was on the U19 team in Serbia, so playing in their junior league. But definitely, 7 foot, I'll take that. We'll see what he can be for the Tigers.
I really did. I looked up the box score from that day in 2010. I got the Tyler Bray game of his life.
You sure did.
18 of 34, 323 for 3 touchdowns.
Wow. Yeah, that's.
And I can remember post game saying, I think we made him look better than he really is.
Yeah, no, I think you definitely got the Tyler Bray game, that's for sure. But a lot of news for David Cobb to keep up with right now, with football right around the corner, college basketball not taking any breaks with the offseason. So definitely appreciate him every single week for joining us. But we need to get to another break. When we return, this will be fun. We're going to get to our local top 5 later at about 5:30. But right now, our top 5 national sports stories for the first half of the year, and also our national sports person of the year. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Kicking back to watch the game, or enjoying a night on the town, Travis Matthew has you covered. They create versatile apparel designed to make you look and feel your best, wherever the day takes you. From performance-driven styles to everyday essentials for both men and women, Travis Matthew bridges the gap between style and comfort. Ready to elevate your everyday? Visit TravisMatthew.com and get 20% off your first order when you sign up for email. That's TravisMatthew.com.
Good afternoon. They've got this wreck to the side on 40 westbound over here at White Station. It's raining pretty good out here in certain parts of town, like this wreck over here that we're looking at live on Bill Morris Parkway westbound, right at Hacks Crossroads as you come out of Collierville. That's running slow right now on Bill Morris Parkway westbound at Hacks Crossroads on the scene of this accident. Looks like it just happened. Dandelions Crabgrass Lawn Solutions here in Memphis says give them a call at 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Brian Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. Top 5 national sports stories for the first half of the year. Also, our Sports Person of the Year nationally. Now that, tomorrow is July, halfway through the year, we got to get some rankings. Which one of y'all, I guess I can include myself in here. Who wants to start us off?
Sure. I'll do it.
Okay, please.
Fire away.
I feel like I've been volunteered to go first, so I'll just keep up with the theme. 5-1 or 1-5?
However.
I'm a 5-1 guy.
I'm a 5-1 guy as well. I'm going to go 5-1. My number 5, still pretty recent, but the Dane Danger being signed to the Miami Heat Summer League instead of getting his appeal approved by college and coming back for one more year in Memphis, going to the Miami Heat.
So you're doing local first or national?
Oh, my goodness. Yep.
I was about to say,
I read the wrong one.
That seems like
My bad.
a crazy national story.
That was foretaste for 5:30, I guess.
Number 5.
My number 5 national is Jimmy Butler being traded to Golden State.
That's a lot more national than
yeah.
Dane Danger.
A lot more of a national news story right there. I know Jimmy Butler was looking to leave Miami and head somewhere to reclaim his love for basketball, and I guess he somewhat found it at Golden State. Remains to be seen. My number 4, this is pretty big for Tom Izzo, breaking the Big Ten win record with 354 wins in college basketball. Number 3, the Eagles winning the Super Bowl in dominant fashion. Brett, I believe, was the only one who predicted that they would win in such a fashion.
That's right,
So
sure did.
The game would be a dud.
Gotta include that. My number 2, because it kickstarted a lot of good things for me. Rory wins his Masters. He finally gets the Master. Finally gets the career Grand Slam. And then number 1, how could it be anything else besides the Luka trade?
Yeah.
Really good.
It's really good. Really good. I guess I'll go next.
Okay.
I'll start at...
Really good.
Who's your sports person of the year, national?
Oh, yeah. National, it's got to be the man who just won himself a finals and was the league MVP. That's SGA.
Okay. MVP, won the championship. I like that.
Hey, big name.
That's right. My top 5, I'll start at number 5. 3 Achilles injuries to 3 superstar players in the NBA playoffs. Jason Tatum, Damian Lillard, Tyrese Halliburton. It's caused a conversation about Achilles injuries, about the NBA schedule, and a lot around it. And definitely for those 3 stars, it has affected what their teams will do next season. So I have that at number 5. Number 4, Rory completes the Grand Slam by winning the Masters. Number 3, Bill Belichick hired at North Carolina to be their next head coach. Number 2, the House settlement goes through and we now enter a new era of college athletics. And number 1, Luka traded to the Lakers. Number 1, Luka going to the Lakers. And my sports person of the year, it is the man who will be the head coach at North Carolina, Bill Belichick. And unfortunately
that
for him,
is great,
it's
Brian.
been a lot of off-the-field conversations that has made him the sports person of the year.
Did I see somebody post what will happen first? Bill Belichick wins a national championship at North Carolina, or the girlfriend is pregnant.
Well, that's, I don't know
Man,
which one I would bet
there's
on
no
that.
boundaries anymore,
No,
is there?
no, certainly not. But I guess everything's in play right now.
All right, number 5 for me, and I readily admit I may have missed. I got the Luka trade 5.
Wow, holy cow.
I've got number 4, so Luka traded. That's number 5. Number 4, Oklahoma City getting that title first in Oklahoma City, started their run here with a sweep of the Grizzlies, and then ended it with 4-3 in the finals. 3, just in this calendar year, remember what they did. Ohio State, with Ryan Day's job on the line, January 1, beat Oregon by 20 in the Rose Bowl. A week later, beat Texas by 14 in the Cotton Bowl. And about 10 days later, in a span of 20 days, they beat Oregon, Texas, and Notre Dame, all by double digits to get everybody off of him until next year when they play Michigan. Number 2 for me, Eagles over Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City in convincing fashion. We were due a dud in a Super Bowl, and we got it, but Jalen Hurts thoroughly outplayed one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks of all time. Number 1 for me is finally, golf term too, getting the albatross, different type of albatross. Rory finally wins at Augusta National and gets that off his shoulders. And he's been an utter meathead since.
Yeah, no, it hasn't been good for him since that. But hey, he got the career Grand Slam, and that was the goal.
And if he doesn't come to Memphis, I will never forgive him.
Yeah. Well,
how many of y'all's national stories do you think hold up when we do end of the year on December 30, 31 or so?
I'm guessing at least one.
I'm going to say probably 2 or 3 of mine.
I've got 4 of mine.
I was about to say, I
think we'll
getting
forget about
closer to
Ohio
4.
State.
Yeah, I think
because we'll have new college football stuff.
Definitely. But yeah, I think probably 3 or 4 of mine will probably still be relevant.
My national sports person got him a green jacket, Rory McIlroy.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And honestly, what he's done since then has been pretty newsworthy with, dodging media and, having his driver confiscated and all that stuff. I mean,
right.
It's been pretty newsy for Rory.
And he's waiting for Ryder Cup.
Yeah, he absolutely is. But no, I think that's a really good sports person. So Rory has certainly been in the headlines this year. But man, Luka number 5 for you. That's a big difference from what me and Landon had.
How great has the first half been nationally?
I think it's been pretty good. I think it's been pretty newsworthy too.
We give out a lot of team titles in the first half. We just have one in the second half. That's baseball.
And I think that's a big part of it is, you give out a lot of championships. But I mean, you think about it, you have the championships, you have the House settlement go through that's, now going to mean a completely new world in college athletics with the, universities paying the players. I think, Rory getting his career Grand Slam. There's been a lot of really, big stories in the first half of the year, I think.
It's really a more national half than local.
Yeah.
Second half is more local.
Yeah, I mean, then we get into Tiger football and Tiger basketball and Grizzlies regular season. It's a lot going on the second part of the season for Memphis, that's for sure. And I mean, that's what when I was looking at local
and the SEC.
Oh, absolutely. But looking at the local stories for me at least, a lot of it, I felt like it was easier, but it felt like for me I was like, okay, well, in the fall and in the winter, it feels like we're gonna have a lot more stories locally, but I thought local was a lot easier to do than national stories. So
I did too. It is summertime, and you can get your new and affordable 26 All-Star Chevy Equinox right there at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, first exit on Highway 78. When you cross into Mississippi, take Kraft Goodman Road, and you're at All-Star, and that's where you can get financing down to 6.6% for 72 months. The new 25 Silverados with $6,500 cash back financing to 2.9 for 36 months. Go big. You should, and get a new Silverado 2500 HD with financing as low as 3.9 for 60 months and not a payment for 90 days. Your good credit deserves it, and that's what you get at All-Star. From Drew DePriest and his great team, if you're a member of law enforcement, first responder, healthcare worker, recent grad, educator, military, instant extra $500 bonus back. All the certified and pre-owns you can imagine, like a Corvette Stingray and Silverados and Tahoes, more in one place than anywhere in our area. If you have any vehicle you want to sell, bring it to All-Star in Olive Branch and get the most money back for it, whether you bought it there or not. Vacation road trip, summer fun begins at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. Together, let's drive something from All-Star, where all our friends are, with Drew and his team at All-Star. For more information, go to allstarautogroup.com.
Let's go ahead and get to another break, and when we return, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Sports 56 WHBQ. 560 AM and 98.5 FM. That's Sports 56, WSBT.com. Take us with you everywhere. Sports 56.
Unleash the power. Make every mile count in your new Volkswagen from Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike. Available right now, 2025 Jetta SN 2025 Taos, 4.9 for 60 months. 2025 Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport, 3.9% for 60 months. And 1,500 loyalty rebate on all 2025 GTIs, Jettas, Taos, Tiguan's Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport. Plus 5,000 off 2024 Atlas Cross Sport SELR line. But only 2 left, so you better hurry to Gossett Volkswagen. 1875 Covington Pike or online anytime at GossettVWMemphis.com. That's Gossett, charging forward and charging less every day. If you want it, we got it at Gossett Volkswagen.
The very last thing anyone wants is to burden their family after passing. That's why having a trust or a will is essential. It ensures your loved ones, your spouse, children, or anyone you care about clearly understand your wishes and don't have to deal with confusion, drama, or legal hassles while grieving. Without a will, your assets could be distributed in ways you never intended. People you care about could be left out completely. Also, probate can be a long, complicated, expensive process. And it's avoidable if you have a simple trust in place. A trust or a will sets a clear plan for how you want your estate handled. They're simple, affordable, give you peace of mind. I have a simple, revocable trust, and knowing my family won't have to go through probate brings real comfort. Trustandwill.com. They make it easy. They're the leaders in creating personalized trusts and wills to protect your legacy and loved ones. Do the right thing. Protect your family. Visit trustandwill.com today for total peace of mind.
Mid-South, if you're looking for a great deal, get to Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat for the employee pricing plus sales event. 2025 Dodge Hornet GT. Buy it for $26,457 or $344.68 a month. That's over $5,000 off MSRP. 2025 Jeep Compass Latitude 4-wheel drive. Over $6,000 off MSRP at $23,541 or $297 a month. And 2025 Ram 1500 Tradesman Crew Cab 5'7" box rear-wheel drive. Over $11,000 off MSRP at $36,869 or just $511.87 a month or 1.9 for 72's available. So drive past the rest and come to the best. Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat on the Pike or online at GossettMotorCars.net. If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motorcars.
you for making us part of your lives. Whether you're celebrating with the crowd or planning a cozy date night on the town, Napa Cafe can provide you an extraordinary evening. We have 5 dining rooms, including our private wine cellar, our Jan's room for 2 guests, and the Eleanor room for parties up to 60. Sit back, relax, and celebrate. Leave the cooking to us. Come see me at Napa Cafe, 5101 Sanderlin Avenue. We're open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. We also offer curbside pickup from our full menu. For details on our stay-in, dine-out menu or reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us. We can't wait to serve you.
Congratulations to Napa Cafe, celebrating 27 years of great food and service for you. Napa Cafe.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, Brett, my big number today could be 10 because we're 10 minutes away from free agency opening, and who knows what takes place after that. But my big number today is the number 30, and it has to do with Aaron Judge, who has been swinging the bat extremely well for the Yankees. This comes from OptaStats. Aaron Judge is the first player in MLB history with at least 30 home runs and 110 hits prior to July of a season. Aaron Judge, his bat has been on fire pretty much all season long, and now we'll see if he can continue that into July, past the All-Star break, and into the playoffs, because that was the big question last year. Was great all regular season, and then postseason came around, and he kind of struggled in some big-time moments for the Yankees. Can he come up big this year in the playoffs for the Yankees?
All right, he's there with average. He'll be there with home runs. Will he be there with RBI for the Triple Crown? Yeah, he's there. Yeah, he's right there.
Yeah, no, I mean he's in a really good spot right now. He's playing
He sure
well.
is.
Yeah, he's been
hits,
awesome.
OPS, OBP,
No, he's been
slug.
electric.
Oh wow,
yeah, he's been really good.
Yeah, he is. At 5:30, I've got a note about this year in the National League with a potential batting crown champion, but I'll save that for 5:30. We've never had a national or American League batting crown winner not 300 or above.
Interesting.
Yaz in the late 60s, 301 in AL, and Tony Gwynn early 90s or in the 90s, 313. But I'll get to how that applies later. 13 is my big number. In 13 more Mondays, the baseball season will be over. Monday, September 29th, 13 Mondays from now, we'll be talking about how all the standings look, and we don't play off anything. It's all scorecard. It's all head-to-head, which I don't like, but I understand with this many teams in, you could have so many tiebreakers. You could have a week of settling tiebreakers, so I guess they have to do that. If the playoffs started today, the Cardinals would travel and play in Philly in the 2 out of 3 wild card, all 3 on the road. They've been the hottest team in baseball since May 4th, and that Sunday sweep, May 4th, against the Mets, that got something started.
Yeah, no, it absolutely did, and they have been rolling ever since that, and so, man, 13 Mondays, that's crazy. That's
13
hard to believe.
Mondays, season's over.
Wow, that is
that'll go fast.
No, it really will. I've been kind of ever since you said I've been held up on that part of your big number because that is it's unbelievable.
Here's my batting crown note. I'll give it now.
Yeah.
You look in the National League, and there are 3 or 4 people over 300. I think leading is like around 318, 19 or so. You could have somebody win the NL batting title this year under 300, first time ever in either league.
Crazy. That'd be insane.
You could.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't really thought about it.
And
but yeah.
1 or 2 that's over 300 could have some eligibility requirements. May not get enough at bats to qualify. Not eligibility, but qualifications.
Sure. Yeah. Wow. So that'd definitely be something to keep an eye on, and that'd be a big story at the end of the season if that plays out. Yeah, that'd be insane. Who are? Do you remember some of those names that are around 300 right now or over
yes,
300?
in the National League, there's a couple of Dodgers.
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna get it exactly.
Always a couple Dodgers around.
You have Will Smith hitting 318.
Yeah.
And that's one for qualifying. Freddie Freeman, 312. You have, for Arizona, Josh Naylor hitting 304. And for the Brewers, hitting 300, Sal Frelick.
Oh, I love Frelick. Oh, man, that guy can play some baseball.
Will he stay over 300 all year?
Probably not.
You got Burleson and Donovan for the Cardinals in high 290s.
Yeah, no, those are names.
But something to watch.
It is something to watch. That'd be a big time story if that happens this year.
If you miss some time, that hurts you in at bats.
Yeah, no, that could definitely get you. Definitely could. Going back, just because we have a minute or two here, Tigers adding the South Sudan 7-1 big man. So, we talked about it last week, Jason Munns with Dave Woloshin talking about kind of that Musa Cisse type build, kind of more of a rim runner, block shot guy. Probably, a little raw. Doesn't sound like he was heavily recruited, but I think a good fit for the Tigers. A guy that can, come in and can really develop. You mentioned it with David Cobb. The way that Dane Danget was able to improve from the start of the season to the end of the season. Maybe the same thing can happen here with this young center.
He got better every single week.
He absolutely did. And so you would hope to see that with a lot of these guys, but certainly maybe a younger, more raw center, maybe a guy you can bring in and, early season maybe struggles, but can really figure things out late in the season.
And some of that development depends on you have really good guard play, and you're not as dependent on them early.
Definitely. And so, hey, that's going to be something to keep an eye on. But right now, Tigers get their 13th man on this roster. We know they can go to as many as 15, but Penny Hardaway has said in recent weeks that 13 might be where they end things off. Well, we're going to get to a break here in a second. Before we do that, let me remind you that perfect time to head down to Frontier Western down in Olive Branch. Family owned and operated since 1967. Frontier Western is your one-stop shop for the biggest brands in Western wear. While you're down there, check out their world-famous boot showroom. I've got to head out there later this week or this weekend to get some boots. Me and my girlfriend need a new pair of boots, so we're heading down there because they are the one-stop shop for all of the biggest boot brands, whether it's work boots or dress boots. They've got you covered for the entire family with proven in-stock classics like Ariat, Dan Post, and Durango, just to name a few. They're also the one-stop shop for Carhartt in the Mid-South, but they've got you covered with plenty of other brands when it comes to their outerwear, their jeans, their shirts, whatever you might need. But if you're in need of a new pair of jeans, they've got you covered from Ariat all the way down to Wrangler, and you'll love how easy it is to find the perfect style and size for you. Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know you'll be getting the best deals. Head down to 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch and check out the entire selection. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Head down to Frontier Western Store. Well, let's get to a break. When we return, we're going to talk Grizzlies and a lot about this offseason. To Michael Cole from the Commercial Appeal. He joins us next.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food?
information, call 901-436-0272.
Good afternoon. Midtown traffic's building right on schedule here on 240 southbound at South Parkway. Watching it build south of Memphis on the interstate here on 55, passing State Line Road. All that traffic pushing down into DeSoto County. This time of the afternoon, it's already starting to get busy going outbound on Austin P Highway right when you come off the interstate. Dandelions, crabgrass, Lawn Solutions here in town says give them a call. Lawn Solutions, 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. And it's 5 o'clock, so that means the NBA free agency is officially open. Joining us to talk all things Grizzlies from the Commercial Appeal, DeMichael Cole joins us now. DeMichael, thanks so much for joining us. I know a lot we want to get to. I know we want to get to the draft, but with free agency here, a lot of noise around Ty Jerome and the Grizzlies. What do you make of Ty Jerome and the potential fit with the Memphis Grizzlies?
Yeah, definitely a lot of noise on that end. We can start there. It's definitely been kind of shaping up as the Grizzlies have been one of the more, I guess you could say, aggressive teams in going after Ty Jerome at this point. I've heard there are a couple other students who've been involved, but, yeah, the Grizzlies are kind of one of the more aggressive teams. Now, with that being said, Ty Jerome, the player, what I make of the fit, I mean, to me, it's an imperfect fit, but it's one that's understandable at the cost. You know, I like him at the mid-level exception, the cap room exception, which would be roughly around $8.8 million, so close to $9 million a year, if that's where they're going to get him at, which would be the case. I think that, that would make a lot of sense as a signing, as a guy who could help fill some of the shooting void that you have without Luke Kennard, without Desmond Bane. He has some playmaking potential to him as well, as a guy who could play, the one, in moments he could play off the ball, on the ball, like he has combo guard ability. The thing why I say it's an imperfect fit is because, defensively, like when you kind of size up what Ty Jerome does well, what he doesn't, like he has really good hands. Like he has very active hands on the defensive end. But beyond that, he doesn't give you much defensively. And if you've looked at the whole thought process behind the Grizzlies reshaping this roster, right, going to the draft, trading Desmond Bane and getting Kentavious Caldwell-Pope as one of the pieces in that deal, they've kind of tried to remake themselves around this defensive identity. And with Ty Jerome, I look at it as that's not going to be someone who's going to be able to close a lot of games for the Grizzlies because of the fact that you just simply want to put above league average defenders around Ja Morant, the Jalen Wells, the Kentavious Caldwell-Pope types, Cedric Coward. That's what you drafted him for, and we'll see what else they do potentially in free agency. But that's kind of me just sizing up the situation initially. Like on the plus side, you're going to kind of address the three-point shooting weakness. You get a little bit of playmaking there, but defensively, he's someone who's not great on that end. So there are limitations to how much he's probably going to play over the course of an 82-game season and in the playoffs.
Do you think his defensive qualities are better than Luke Kennard's?
I think he's a better defensive playmaker than Luke Kennard. Going back to he averaged, I think, close to 20 minutes this past season, and he was over a steal per game. And, he uses his hands really well. Like Ty Jerome, going back to his days at Virginia, has always been just a very high IQ guy with his timing, with his anticipation and things like that. Whereas with Luke Kennard, you didn't get much of any of that. You didn't get Luke Kennard getting steals or things like that. It was more of Luke Kennard would try on the defensive end, but there were just obvious limitations there. Ty Jerome has some limitations as well, but I think you get a better defender in that regard because of the fact that he's going to, get some of those steals that lead to breakaway plays and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Going back to last week, the NBA draft, the Grizzlies move up to take Cedric Coward, and then in the second round, take a pair of players, Javon Small and Jemai Meshack. What did you make of what the Grizzlies did over the 2 days of the NBA draft?
Yeah, it just goes back to that defensive tone that this team is trying to set. I think that's pretty much the way to sum up the draft overall. Each player that they drafted, had somewhat of a defensive profile. It's something that me and you guys have talked about on here. Mm-hmm. The fact that the Grizzlies, the days of them kind of going after those Luke Kennard archetypes, it just doesn't feel like that's something that they're prioritizing anymore. They want guys who can get after it on the defensive end, and that's what that draft class was about. Cedric Coward, right? You talk about a guy 6'6", 7'2.5" wingspan. In the simplest form, I'm looking at this as because I was of the opinion, like, hey, if you have the opportunity to trade that first-round pick, do it. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have the opportunity, where if something doesn't make sense, you got to go build yourself the player that you've been trying to trade for. And what I mean by that is, yeah, we know that the Grizzlies went out to Dorian Finney-Smith. We know they went out to Kevin Durant. We know they went out to Mikal Bridges. There have been other wings that have been, rumored interest like OG Anunoby and others. Well, guess what? You weren't able to get any of those guys. So you say, fine, we'll go through the draft. We'll just build our own and hope that we can hit on a guy like Cedric Coward and he can turn into their own personal, Mikal Bridges or, one of those type of guys. So I like the fact that they handled that situation well. They went up and got their guy, Jemai Meshack, Tennessee guy, someone I've been watching very closely for the last couple years. And, he gets after it on the defensive end, one of the best defenders, I've seen in college basketball last season. So we'll see what type of opportunity he gets overall. And then Javon Small, really want to see what they are going to do there. Javon Small put up great numbers in college, right? Good offensive numbers. He was a good playmaker at 3 different schools, played high major basketball. 6'2" point guard. I just wasn't. I feel like, size was the route that Memphis should be going, putting on more size. You already got, Scottie Pippen Jr. We'll see what happens with Cole Anthony. And then you got Ja as well. So I just felt like if you were going to get kind of a point guard or a playmaking guard, so to speak, like a Ty Jerome who's 6'5", that would kind of be the route. So we'll see kind of what his role becomes, Javon Small, that is. But overall, I think it was a solid draft with a clear emphasis on getting better on the defensive end.
DeMichael, if they got better on defense, where's the scoring going to come from? Because we know around 100, 105 in a game, that doesn't get you much anymore. Where's the scoring going to come from?
Yeah, you better hope they get some good old turn defense into offense. But at the same time, Santi still is someone that, they're very, very interested in bringing back. So Santi averaged over 12 points per game this past season. Zach Edey is someone I expect to take some steps on the scoring end. Like, he should be a double-digit scorer this next season. Same thing with Jalen Wells. He should be a double-digit scorer. So you look up and down the starting lineup, potentially, you should have some double-digit scoring guys. I don't think they'll be a great scoring team, but it could be as simple as Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. Now not having to defer to Desmond Bane as much. You could get an even more aggressive version of Ja. So I think, again, the scoring will be fine overall. And at the end of the day, one thing that won't change from Taylor Jenkins to Toas Isolo is he's going to emphasize pace. He's going to want this team to get out and run. So they're going to still be able to get out and transition with Ja running the show, with Scottie Pippen Jr. All those guys still push the ball and transition as well. So I think a lot of the scoring is just going to come through the flow of playing great defense and turning it into offense. But when the game slows down, I think it's going to be a lot of Ja Morant, a lot of Jaren Jackson Jr., and we'll see what type of steps, the Jalen Wells and the Zach Edey's can take, because those are the guys they're going to need.
Draft night, we know the Grizzlies traded and moved up. Can you report if they were if they had anything close to a deal to even move higher in the first round and have a better pick than at 11?
I didn't hear anything about them going higher than than 11. I do know there were a couple teams that the Grizzlies wanted to get in front of to get to 11 in order to get Cedric Coward. So I know, 16 to 11. They gave up a decent amount, but they definitely believed that it was worth the price, considering that there were a couple other teams that were interested in getting Cedric Coward in that range.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned Santi Aldama. Obviously, that's a name that we're going to be keeping an eye out for during free agency, a restricted free agent. There's been some reports that Brooklyn is interested in him. We also saw the reports a week or so ago that Detroit and maybe a couple other teams are interested in sign-in trades. What are you expecting the Grizzlies to do? You mentioned they really like Santi. I guess the expectation is to bring him back, but what will these next couple days look like for Santi Aldama?
Yeah, I get the sense that, they definitely want to bring Santi back. All right, we can start there. But I get the sense that there's a number. I say, okay, this is where we'll draw the line, because there's real interest in Santi Aldama out there. There's no doubt about that. He's a big that can shoot the basketball. He's coming off a career year. Talk about a year where he had over 12 points, 6.5 boards, coming off the bench. He had playmaking ability, with his passing. And, there are going to be other teams out here that like that profile, a guy who's pretty much close to 7 feet. He can shoot the ball well. He moves nimbly. Like, Santi is going to draw a lot of attention out here. But the question is, how much attention will that lead to from a financial standpoint? Are we talking $18 million a year? And that Grizzlies might say, whoa, because you already got Brandon Clark on the 4-year, $50 million deal. So you're talking about roughly, a guy that's around the $12.5, $13 million range right there. But that's one backup big. And then, of course, Jaren, everything goes well, you're going to be paying him to pay 3 bigs in this sort of realm of the NBA, like this version of the NBA, in addition to Zach Edey, having a top 10 rookie contract. That is a lot of financial investment for bigs when today's game isn't even revolved around 4 bigs playing at a time, in a rotation. So, look, at the end of the day, I think that Santi Aldama is likely to remain with the Grizzlies. But if this thing gets into, a point where another team says, we want Santi and we're going to pay a premium price for him, we could be talking about him playing elsewhere.
If somebody does that and gets him to leave Memphis, what's the plan to replace him?
At that point, I think the initial plan would be internal. I know that's not the popular answer, but I think Gigi Jackson is a name that has come up a couple times. This summer when I've been talking to people, just about the opportunities that are about to be there on the roster. They haven't lost hope in Gigi. Remember, he started the year injured and just never really just completely regained his footing, on that end. I know Vince Williams is someone that they still believe that he can get closer to 100% and still make an impact there. And then, of course, with guys like Jalen Wells and Cedric Coward and all these other names kind of coming into the fold, we might start seeing more of that for a round 1 type of look from the Grizzlies. So I think that's just kind of how they're mapping it out right now. But that's why I think they want to bring Santi back because there isn't some automatic contingency plan outside of the internal organization to replace him.
There hasn't been a ton of talk about guys the Grizzlies could target in terms of centers, with obviously the news with Zach Edey. How do you think they're going to go about free agency and or trades in terms of trying to acquire another center?
Yeah, I don't think it's as of high value as a lot of people want it to be, right? Like, and on both sides. Like, the Grizzlies are probably looking at it like, man, Zach's going to miss 15 games maybe. Like, we shouldn't go out here and potentially overpay or do too much for a big, and it's not going to be a long time. And then at the end of the day, other bigs could be saying, let me see what other situations are out there, because what I'm basically seeing is that, okay, I'll get out there, I'll play some rotation minutes for 15 games or so possibly, and then Zach Edey comes back, and then you got Brandon Clark, Santi Aldama, Jaren Jackson Jr. There are no minutes for me. So now I'm back on the pine, and I just signed a 1-year deal, so we'll see what happens on that end.
Yeah, no, we definitely will. I know Cole Anthony's name's been thrown around a lot.
We got Jaren Jackson Jr. news that just popped up, guys. So I'm gonna have to roll out. But Jaren Jackson Jr. He's expected to sign the renegotiation deal.
Very good, DeMichael.
Awesome.
Thank you. We know you got to get busy with it.
Busy time for you. Thanks so much for joining us, man.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, DeMichael.
Thank you very much. We expected that could happen.
Yeah.
And we expected the Jerry news. So I think.
Oh yeah.
I think good because got to get some offense from somewhere.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, Brett, I have been surprised how slow it has been. I think a lot of teams trying to not tamper, quote unquote, be labeled as tampering because that has been a big thing around the NBA.
An initiative by the NBA to not do it?
I think whether it's by teams or by the NBA, I think the NBA has shown that they're taking picks and trying to limit tampering. And so I think I think everyone's still tampering. I think it's still going on, but I think they're telling Shams and other people, let's hold off on reporting this for a little bit of time, and then let's go at about 5:15.
All right, you tell me. I don't think it should be a big law school debate or not about it. But on draft night, we were talking that day, and you told me, you said, I've cut off Shams' notifications. I don't want it ruined. 100%. That night, he would not. He did not do anything very un-Woj-like. Brian, I'm in the news. I mean, I want the news as it breaks.
Sure.
How many times, whether it's whatever it is, often Olympics, and I remember way back, we would have people call or fax.
Yeah.
Don't give any results because I'm taping and I want to watch it all live tonight at home. Well, I can't do that.
Sure. Yeah, and I think that's different.
I've got to tell it in real time.
Sure. I think that's a lot different. If something's going on at 3 o'clock, there's an event going on, or 2 o'clock in the Olympics, well, of course we're going to talk about it. But when it's something like the draft and it's like 2 minutes from now they're going to announce it on the television, I at least personally want to watch it live on television instead of having Woj or Shams.
And did the network suggest to Shams?
Oh yeah.
Don't wreck our TV moment like Woj used to.
I think they could because I think there's a lot of people out there that were getting kind of annoyed by Woj and anybody that were breaking picks. So I think it might have been ESPN saying
who's the NFL guilty offender of that?
I think probably Adam Schefter. There's a couple other guys.
ESPN.
Oh, I know, but I think
rein in Shams, they can rein him in.
Well, I mean, Woj was ESPN. I think this is kind of something that they're starting to do because I think there's been a lot of blowback.
But I don't know. I want it instantaneous.
Yeah.
If you've got it 2 minutes before. 2 seconds, I want.
Sure. No, absolutely. And so, but I think teams might be slow to try to report this news in terms of
5
tampering.
years, $240.
Yeah, it's a good good deal for Jaren. Locks him up, obviously, 5-year deal, and now we know there's been a lot of talk of keeping him in Memphis, getting that extension, and now we know it's official with Shams tweeting it out that Jaren is going to be here for the long haul, at least for right now.
And we had readied ourselves for it. Local, again, had it right, even though I disagreed with it. I was for a full blow-up. But I said it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
This isn't close to. I mean, this is the anti-teardown.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, this is the front office saying we have faith in Jaren Jackson Jr. We have faith in John Morant, and maybe it was time
they have to come through.
They've got to, and maybe I think their idea is maybe it was just having those three together weren't working. If you can take one out, maybe do something different, but at least have these two guys as your centerpiece. Maybe that's the way to go, and it's very clear that that's the way they're moving.
Right, you're right. It's very clear that happened. How did it all fall to Desmond Bane? Because so far that's really the only big news. Some bits and pieces in the draft, and maybe waiting for some free agent news. But the only from losing in the playoffs to now, the big move has been Desmond Bane.
Yeah, and Brett, who's saying that if Orlando hadn't offered 4 first-round picks, that he'd even be gone?
Great
We've obviously
it
been
took
talking
the
about
King's
making
ransom
things.
to move off of it.
We've been talking about moves for this Grizzlies team, but the front office has kind of said we're committed to these guys, and who knows if it was a lesser deal if they would have done that. More news from Shams Charania. Santi Aldama has agreed to a 3-year, $52.5 million deal to return to Memphis.
Good.
So, the Grizzlies.
We were just talking about needing offense.
Yeah, the Grizzlies are the active team to start free agency, the only team that anything is coming out on right now. So getting those 2 guys back. Now, what does that mean for the rest of free agency? What does that mean for the rest of this roster? I don't know.
And there's always give and take in anything, but for Santi, in this new defensive kind of mindset, he didn't play any.
Yeah, no, you're definitely going to want more from him, and maybe the idea is you have enough around him. I don't know, but obviously a guy that's going to come off the bench, and I think like DeMichael said, what he can give you offensively. I really like Santi, and so I think he's a good piece to bring back for this Grizzlies team.
And so far, if they hadn't made the Bain deal.
Yeah.
How do you go out there in the summertime? And I don't know when they will have another availability. Maybe introducing a free agent, they could. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have it then and you wait till that first one at training camp, how do you say we've done anything different? Well, you couldn't.
Yeah, no.
And now you could even question of how different is it? Mm-hmm. How much did you really do?
Yeah, and that's the question.
Is Zach Kleiman said not close?
That's exactly right. And so, with Santi returning, at least right now, it's obviously not being reported as a sign-in trade. Maybe something comes down the road. I know there were definitely teams interested in that. But you're right. Right now it's getting rid of Desmond Bain and adding KCP, and I think the hope is that you move Cole Anthony somewhere and maybe can get something back in return. But they've been, at least from what I've read, trying very hard to get rid of him, and so far no buyers. So
if Cole Anthony stays, what's his role?
He's a backup guard, and I don't really know where
handling the ball on the point.
Oh yeah, no, he definitely would be the
what do we do
ball handler.
Scottie Pippen.
Well, and that's the point. Is we talked about when they acquired him, you gotta move one of them, and it feels like Scottie Pippen Jr. would be the one the Grizzlies would.
Who would GM Bryant go forward with, Scottie Pippen or Cole Anthony?
I'd definitely go with Scottie Pippen.
Me too.
I think his
we've seen it.
Yeah, his deal's better. You've seen it. But
fits.
Yeah, it just seems like Cole Anthony right now is not easy to move, and maybe that is easier to move once we've let free agency calm down a little bit. But I was reading something, I think it was Mark Stein, either earlier today or yesterday, saying that they made a lot of calls over the weekend trying to find a team that they could move him to, and just really haven't been able to find anything for him yet.
You just wonder after it all settles out, how many teams will the Grizzlies be ahead of in the West?
It's a good question. We know how good the West is going to be, how jam-packed it's going to be. And so that is the question, because right now, you're right. The only move you've really made is moving Desmond Bain. So I don't know. I really don't. I think
it feels like the same down the stretch of the season math as last year.
Yeah, no, it really does. So we'll see if what more moves they make throughout free agency. What moves are made around the NBA? Really, the Grizzlies, the only team with any news out there since free agency opened at 5 o'clock.
There was a while today the NFL had more trade news.
Yeah, no, there really was.
And the potential of T.J. Watt.
That's right, yeah, and that's definitely something I'm excited to talk to Bo Marchand about.
Me too.
The Steelers have been very newsy this offseason.
And Brian, I know it's not often associated with defensive line. Mm-hmm. Maybe some secondary players, but there are not a lot of high-maintenance defensive linemen. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say it. I think the Watt boys have been high maintenance and have won exactly nothing in their careers.
Yeah, no, this story with TJ, it's starting to get a little high maintenance for sure. And where does it end? Because it could get even worse depending on what happens in the next couple of weeks and the next couple of months as we get closer.
And prone to injury.
Injuries have definitely been a factor for him. That's a really good point. So, I don't know. I'm excited to talk to Bo about it. Obviously, the trade earlier today involving the Steelers as well, so there will be a lot to talk about with Bo tomorrow afternoon. I want to thank DeMichael Cole again for joining us. I mean,
We sure do.
I know how newsy it obviously has already been, and he was ready to report all of that news. So we definitely told him, hey, when you got to go, just shout. But definitely appreciate it. We got more time out of him than I thought we were going to get. So we definitely appreciate that.
We sure did.
Yeah, because I was looking at my phone going, all right, any minute now it feels like everything is going to drop. But we're going to
He's been great to us.
No, he has been fantastic, and that's going to be our last conversation with him until closer to the season. Maybe here or there when news comes up, we might get him back.
At the golf tournament, we'll catch up with him.
Definitely.
When he's pulling extra duty.
Oh, absolutely. So, yeah,
that's around schedule time.
That's exactly right. So there will be plenty to talk about with him there. So we'll definitely catch up with him here and there. But in terms of our regular Monday,
and I should never forgive Jason Munns and DeMichael Cole for introducing me to Immaculate Grid.
No, that was a mistake on their part. I would say you love. Some
I got to put the phone away.
I mean, hey, it's fun. It's a fun little exercise to do.
I got one Saturday night. I got Cardinal Cubs, and I've always kind of used Donnie Kessler from Far City.
Sure, yeah.
And that's like 0 point. But I used Buddy Schultz.
Holy cow.
It was 0 point.
Holy cow.
Like 3 zeros.
I believe it.
For old Buddy Schultz.
Old Buddy.
The winning pitcher of the first Cardinal game I ever went to.
Is that right?
Came in
Holy
relief
cow.
of Bob Force on a Sunday
Wow.
afternoon against the Expos.
Wow.
That's how I remembered him.
Shout out, Buddy.
Not Barney Schultz, that a lot of people associate old timers
Sure.
with the Cardinals, but Buddy.
That's great. Oh, Buddy. Shout out, Buddy. But we got to get to a break here in a second. When we return, we're going to talk our top 5 local sports stories of the first half of the season. But before we get to this break, let me remind you about our 5 o'clock sponsor. It's Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984, and their talented team is ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out the new 2025 models like the 2025 Range Rover Sport, the 2025 Range Rover Velar, and the 2025 Defender. Test drive the Range Rover Sport, where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility, with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635. It's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Take a look at the Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. Don't forget about the Defender, available in multiple models to fit your needs. The Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call, 877-259-6169. Go online to JaguarBluffCity.com, but head out there, test drive these vehicles. 6335 Wheel Cove, just off of Quince, for Bluff City Jaguar. Well, let's grab that break, and when we come back, earlier we did our national stories for the first half of the year. Now we'll get local. Top 5 local sports stories for the first half of the year and our local sports person of the year. We'll get to that next on Sports Time.
Looking for sports.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. Do you know what Penny Hardaway and I have in common? We should both be in that building celebrating the best basketball players of all time. Of course, I'll have to buy a ticket to get in, but he should already be there. But seriously, we both surround ourselves with the best people we can find. We work hard to achieve our goals, and we are both among the best in our respective fields. At 5-Ash, we can't win titles or get national awards, but what we can and do strive to do is give 100% of ourselves to give you the best product possible and one you can be proud of. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call at 901-367-0050, and we will do everything we can to provide you the best of everything. 5-Ash Roofing. Fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Good afternoon. Still dodging some rain showers out here. It just depends on where you are as it gets heavier out of Midtown on 240 South at South Parkway. It's been busy with a couple of earlier wrecks we had on I-40 out in Fayette County, right there at the county line, as it picks up now on 240 getting on to 385 Bill Morris Parkway. Dandelions, crabgrass, Lawn Solutions here in Memphis says we'll put a stop to it. Give them a call here at Lawn Solutions in Memphis at 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. If you've missed anything happening since 5 o'clock, Jaren Jackson Jr. has gotten his extension with the Memphis Grizzlies. Santi Aldama also re-signed. How about this? Jaren Jackson signs and changes numbers. He's going to go from number 13 to number 8 going into next season. So Landon and I were trying to figure out why did he not take 8 when he got drafted. I don't know if someone was 8 when he joined the team, but he will be changing numbers. And just now coming out from Shams Charania, the Grizzlies and Cam Spencer have agreed to a 2-year, $4.5 million fully guaranteed contract, sources tell ESPN. So Cam Spencer moving from the two-way going to a standard fully guaranteed contract, $4.5 million over the next 2 years. So the Grizzlies, the most active team since free agency started.
8 to begin with in his rookie year. Dusty Hannahs wore it some, but that was up from I'm looking up at Basketball Ref. I did not remember that.
Yeah.
Right before that, Marshawn Brooks had it for a little while, but I don't know why he. And then Zaire Williams had it, but Jaren was used to number 13. With this deal, Jaren's going to be around $350 million made in NBA earnings. He's not through. He'll get another contract past that. His dad, who played late 90s, early aughts, made $8 million.
That's incredible.
And that's a lot of money.
Oh yeah, it's a ton of money.
250 is a whole
man.
bunch.
I mean, it is incredible. But yeah, I mean, good payday for him. And Grizzlies very active.
350 is Forrest Gump money.
No, that's insane.
It's big money.
That is insane. Other news, really the only other news outside of the Grizzlies, and then we'll get to our top 5 local stories. But Dorian Finney-Smith has agreed to a 4-year, $53 million deal with the Houston Rockets. So
look out, Rockets.
Rockets starting to build up. We knew they were going to be doing that this offseason, and good start for them with that move. So we will keep you updated on any more free agency news that comes out before we get out of here at 6 o'clock. But we do have to get to our top 5 local sports stories for the first half of the year. Landon, since you started us last time, do you want to start us off?
Same
again?
order.
We know you're 5, so start us off from there.
Starting off, going down to number 4, staying Memphis basketball related. PJ Haggerty becoming the first Memphis player to achieve consensus All-American honor since 2008. My number 3 is the Desmond Bain trade. Number 2, heading down a little bit south, but I'm proud to call this a little local. Jackson Dart being taken in the first round to New York as a quarterback. And number 1, the biggest news that struck Memphis was Taylor Jenkins being fired.
Are we unanimous in one?
Yes, we are.
It's no doubt.
No doubt.
Still a thunderbolt.
No doubt about that.
Who went second last time?
I went second last time. Who's your
my
person of the year?
My local person. He definitely made a lot of moves. That's John Morant.
Okay. All right. I think that's a good one. I'll start at 5, work my way up. Number 5, Memphis basketball winning the AAC, but then losing in the first round of the tournament after getting the 5 seed. Number 4, Nico Yamaleava, his saga with wanting more money from Tennessee and then deciding to hit the transfer portal and go to UCLA. Number 3 for me, PJ Haggerty earning All-American, but then entering the transfer portal on one of the last days to enter the transfer portal. Number 2 for me, Desmond Bain being traded. And number 1 for me, the firing of Taylor Jenkins. My sports person of the year, I'm going to go with Zach Kleiman. Fired Taylor Jenkins, traded Desmond Bain, moved up to get Cedric Coward in the draft, said that the team was not close to competing, and now we're seeing what he is doing with this front office in free agency. It feels like we've talked about Zach Kleiman a lot. He has been a part of a lot of these things that have happened locally, so he is my sports person for the first part of the year.
Locally for me, number 5, it was the most local NCAA tournament ever with the Tigers. Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Arkansas, all in the tournament. Sweet 16 for Ole Miss and Arkansas, Elite 8 for Tennessee. Number 4, Desmond Bain dealt 1/3 of the medium-sized 3. So far, we're still waiting. He's the only one that's really paid any price. Well, I guess Taylor Jenkins paid a big price.
Yeah.
But personnel, Desmond Bain's the only big piece of the puzzle that's out with new people in. Number 3, Grizzlies, nothing in the NBA playoffs once again. Brooms out against Oklahoma City. Yes, competitive games in games 3 and 4 at FedEx, and who knows what happens if Ja doesn't get hurt. I think I do know. I think it would have been 2-2. So along those lines, who knows what happens if we don't have the Tyrese Hunter injury. But number 2, Tigers, nothing in the NCAA tournament once again. Got that 5 seed, but still no advancement, much less second weekend. I think it would have been advancement. I don't know that it would have been second weekend with Tyrese Hunter. We'll never know, and you can make a case that it would have been maybe even beyond second weekend with him healthy. Number 1, Taylor Jenkins fired with 9 games left, all-time winningest coach. He lost the power play against Wexler and Kleiman.
No, he absolutely did, and so group lock on number 1 for all of us doesn't surprise me at all.
How many of y'all's hold up the rest of the year? How many of your 5? I think 2 or 3 or 4 of mine do. 2 or 3 for sure.
I think a couple. I think at least 2. I think
about 2.
We'll move on from Tigers and Grizzlies eliminated.
Sure, but I think TJ being fired
Bain and
will
Jenkins?
be there. Yeah, Bain could be there certainly. With what
And we'll go 10 at the end of the year.
Sure, but I think that will depend on how the Grizzlies start the season, how he starts the season, or Orlando. I mean, if he starts out hot, the Grizzlies are kind of struggling. He could be, definitely on that final list. Nico could certainly still be on the list, especially depending on what happens.
What if he's lighting it up in the Big Ten?
I mean, and I saw the report today. Yeah, that's
in the Big
insane.
Ten.
I mean, good Lord, we got to stop everything and just remind ourselves that UCLA is in the Big Ten. But I saw that he will be one of the players for UCLA at Media Days down in Las Vegas. So again, let's also pause Big Ten Media Days in Las Vegas this year, which is insane.
Wonder
to
if
even
Kurt
think about.
Signetti going to show up wanting to fight again this year like that. He backed it up, though, didn't he?
He did. His team was awesome, so I guess he did back that up. I don't know if Shams Charania just only has the Grizzlies in his contact book, because it feels like they're the only team doing anything. He tweeted this out just a couple minutes ago. The Memphis Grizzlies and Cole Anthony's reps at XL Sports are working towards a resolution that allows Memphis to create the necessary cap space to renegotiate and extend Jaren Jackson Jr. while giving Anthony the opportunity to find his next destination.
My jersey.
Tell
what I do with my
ESPN.
jersey now?
Oh, man, Brett. Hopefully, I don't know. Maybe you can. Maybe there's a little policy there, like a 30-day
Or as some
policy.
said, Anthony Cole.
That's right. Yeah. No. Yeah. Gotta get the name down. But hey, at least he's not here. He probably won't be here long enough to where we really need to learn the name. I guess.
Pre-med, pre-law. It's all the same thing.
It's at the end of the day, he's in and out.
My local sports person of the year, I hadn't gotten to
I'm
it
sorry, Brett.
yet, but we all for a long time wondered, where would we be? What will it be like without him?
Yeah.
Well, now we have to learn. The death of great sportsman, Fred Smith.
Oh, yeah. That's a really good one. That's a great one, Brett. Wow. Yeah.
We've all wondered,
Uh-huh.
what's the sports scene going to be like?
Yeah. Wow.
Now we have to find out.
That is I thought I was being clever and getting a good one with Zach Kleiman, but no, Fred Smith is the answer.
I would suggest to people, go read, and this name people may remember for some really good shock books. Michael Bamberger at Golf Digest wrote a profile that just hit the center of the bullseye about Mr. Fred Smith. It's really good stuff.
Yeah,
I suggest people go read it.
Absolutely, and I know our friend Jason Munns had a story in the Commercial Appeal about Fred Smith and the sports scene here that was really good. So yeah,
Jason did.
It's gonna be a new world in terms of Memphis sports with Fred Smith not here anymore. So that's a great one. That really is a good one. But I'm already excited to see what the end of the year will look like for both of these. With the top 10.
What will it look like?
Whew, this is one we talked about it the other day with our college football playoffs that we did. we need to save these, and then at the end of the year, look back and see how many held up and how many are still there on an
And then
expanded
those predictions
top 10.
after the first of the year.
Yeah, then we'll definitely have to save those. And look back on those because those are always really, really fun. Well,
I think in predictions for about a 15-year run, Tiger Woods will be in the FedEx St. Jude Championship field this year.
Well, that is we know that's
he
out
was
the window
real
now.
close to. If he hadn't have got hurt on that Sunday, late in the round in 2019, he was on his way.
Yeah, no, well, unfortunately now I don't think that's going to be on our prediction list anymore. But been pretty quiet in the NBA to start free agency. Not a lot, unless you're the Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis Grizzlies have dominated the first 45 minutes of free agency. I will say, I mentioned it a second ago, Dorian Finney-Smith going to the Rockets. That is a really good pickup for them. Really good fit. I know that's a guy that, for the last, I don't know. I mean, I remember around trade deadline, a lot of people talking about Dorian Finney-Smith and the opportunity for Memphis to go out and get him. But now he lands on a division rival in Houston. But we need to get to our final break of the day. And when we return, we'll wrap up today's show with Moe's Crunch Time.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
That's 800-694-1127. ready to crush the competition with your new ride from Gossett Hyundai on the Pike. 2025 Hyundai Ioniq 5 SEL front-wheel drive EV, 318 miles on a single charge. We Gossett at just $241 a month. How about 2025 Hyundai Elantra SEL Sport, 39 MPG Highway? We Gossett $297 a month. And 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe XRT all-wheel drive MSRP, $42,180. We Gossett now $37,180 or $469 a month. That's $5,000 off MSRP. And you always get America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get to Gossett Hyundai today, 1870 Covington Pike, or visit us online, HyundaiGossett.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Crunch Time is brought to you by Humdinger's Corporate Catering. Enjoy tacos made with crunchy slaw, grilled fish, and chicken, and the best taco sauce in town. Find out more, call Jenny Nash at 901-606-3172.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskell.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
Crunch Time is brought to you by Moe's Southwest Grill. Need a crunchy bite to eat? Head to Moe's for nachos, crunch wraps, tacos, salads, and more. Moe's.com is your go-to for all your taco crunch time emergencies. Well, Brett, what I learned today is the Grizzlies have been the most active team since free agency opened at 5 o'clock, re-upping and getting that big extension with Jaren Jackson Jr., bringing Santi Aldama back, getting Cam Spencer on a new deal, and Brett Siegel is reporting to expect more moves for the Grizzlies. This is from his tweet earlier today, about 30 minutes ago or so. Memphis is going to need to cut costs after restructuring and extending Jaren Jackson Jr. John Conchar and Brandon Clark have been on the trade block. Both Cole Anthony and KCP can still be traded individually as well. So expect the Grizzlies to continue to be aggressive and continue to be making moves.
I agree with our buddy Matt Infield. He tweeted this. I agree with him so much at Action News 5. Say whatever you want about Sonny, that contract is a bargain for the Grizzlies. Really good. Compared to what he was expected to sign. That really is good. A great take.
Yeah, that was a good deal.
By Matt. And there are fans of Sonny. What I learned, James Harden, new deal with the Clips, probably two more years, and probably will be the it for the Hall of Famer. Career NBA earnings will end up around $500 million. Same for Russell Westbrook. They're going to make about $1 billion. They earned every single penny. I'm glad they got it. These owners are making it. These TV deals are that good. Yep. And they're still going to have a combined 10 NBA final games between them.
That's right.
For $1 billion.
Yeah. That money's nice, though.
Sure is. And I'm glad they got it.
Yeah.
The money's out there.
Oh, yeah.
Phil Mickelson proved that.
Sure did.
With the PGA Tour.
He absolutely did. What I could have done without today, it's the news that came out yesterday about Malik Beasley. We talked about it earlier, but the U.S. Attorney's Office has opened a federal investigation into allegations of gambling-related offenses. Not good. Not good at all. You mentioned earlier, now anytime you go on to social media, you see videos of, well, what was going on here?
There
What's
it
on the
is.
take there? Here's an instance of that. It's just sad to see it. This is the biggest name we've seen involved in this with the NBA. Malik Beasley, a really, really solid vet, a guy that was viewed as one of the top free agents for this free agent cycle, and now getting hit with this the day before free agency opened. Oh, not good news.
What a great country. Jake LaRavia just signs for $12 million with the Lakers.
How about that with the Lakers? Man, good for him. Shout out Jake LaRavia.
hard to believe. I could have done without. You just can't have that poor judgment that Malik Beasley showed. I still don't think it puts him past Tyler Hero as dumbest NBA player ever. For Hero not recognizing anything before 1950, but setting on fire 42 million is close.
Yeah, no, that is not good. It's funny with Jake LaRavia. I remember when was it when we had on? We were talking a couple weeks ago, and Keith Smith was telling us that they had Jake LaRavia on their podcast, and I saw a clip from that podcast where they're talking to Jake LaRavia, and he's in a car, and the whole time during this interview, he's riding around in the car, and they didn't know who he's in the car with, of course, and at the end, Keith Smith's co-host said, hey, I cover the Lakers out here. I think you'd be a great fit for the Lakers. And he turns his camera a little bit, driving the car, Austin Reeves. So here we go, Austin Reeves behind the scenes trying to get Jake LaRavia to the Lakers.
Who would you take playing one-on-one, Reeves or LaRavia?
Like me against them? Or like
No, them against each other.
Against each other. Who I take? I'd take Austin Reeves. I'd take Austin Reeves.
Won't be a lot of defense play.
No. But I would take Austin Reeves over Jake LaRavia for sure. Where are you beaming tonight?
Make the rain stop in Pittsburgh. Eric Fetty, who hadn't been very good in about 2 months against the Buccos. Buccos had a sweep over the weekend over the Mets. Mm-hmm. Usually a trip to PNC is just what the doctor ordered for the Cardinals.
Yeah, we'll see if it's what it ordered. Pirates coming off a sweep over the Mets, so they're feeling good. Beam me to this Red Sox game that gets started here in a couple minutes. Chase Burns, his second Major League Baseball start against Garrett Crochet. It should be a pretty good pitching matchup.
Rematch of the 75 World Series, and it was a 7-game classic when the whole country watched 50 years ago. 50 years ago, woo. Red Sox and Reds, great matchups tonight. Also San Diego and Philly, Bombers at Jays, late San Francisco at Arizona, and all the NBA news.
Yeah, not a ton of baseball, but the matchups we're getting should be pretty good. And like you said, we'll be keeping up with everything going on in free agency. But that's all the time we have. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.